Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Law Mistress's channel. Happy time zone. I hope everyone is having a wonderful one. Welcome to the King Decrees, which is going to be our one-shot actual play of the Cunning Folk, a game called the Cunning Folk, created by Emily Graymore. It is a game of fantastical mischief, of fairy tale magic, and of sweet revenge. Go and check out the Kickstarter page. Moobot should be doing the rounds. Yes, Moobot has come through and has literally just botted about it. So thank you, Moobot. You can find the link in the little Moobot caption that I've got on the side there. Thank you so much for joining us, those of you that have joined us, and obviously for those of you that don't know me or who might be new to the channel, I am Kat. I am known on the internet as the Law Mistress, and I sometimes run actual play one-shots on my channel for people to enjoy and often play in, like these lovely four that I am joined with, because I cannot play this game alone as much as I often play solo games on my channel. So I have chosen four wonderful people to come and play this game with me and take on the mantle of various members of the aforementioned Cunning Folk. I'm going to go around. I'm going to get you all to introduce yourself. If you could please tell me your name, your pronouns, and your character name, so what the goodly mortals of the mortal realm will refer to your character as, and their archetype, which is playbooks, essentially. For those of you watching at home, playbooks within the game. So, let me just look at my overlay to remind myself of what I got going on. I'm going to go, this is going to have a little bit of chaos in it, this game, so I'm going to choose chaotically. Erin, let's start with you.
Hi everyone, it's great to be here. I'm Erin, my pronouns are they, them, and tonight I will be playing Copper, the Elemental.
Thank you very, very much. Mads.
Hi, I'm Mads, and I am going to be, she, they pronouns, and I'm going to be playing the Dancing Whisper, the Trickster.
Incredible, very excited. Let's go Diana next.
Hi everybody, I am Diana, and she, her pronouns, and today I will be playing Old Mother Grin, a crone archetype.
Incredible. And last but certainly not least, let's go with Naomi.
Hi, I am Naomi. I use she, her pronouns, and I will be playing Segwa, a light archetype.
All right, so we have met my players. I also forgot to say what my pronouns are. Great job, Kat. She, they pronouns, everyone. But you should be able to see them on the overlay that we've got going on. So that's just a reminder for everyone that needs that reminder. Before we dive in, I'm just going to quickly address safety. This is a game about fairy tales, and like most fairy tales, there will be moments of harmless, chaotic fun and moments of horrifying whimsy. It is a game about taking revenge on a powerful, wealthy, and rather nasty set of royals, and so at times we may touch upon some darker themes that fly a little too close to the state of the real world. We hope watching revenge against these figures may provide some catharsis, but if anyone or anything you see feels a bit harmful to your headspace, thank you for your support. Please take care of yourself as priority. We have lines and veils in play, and at any point any of my players may call for a break to ensure everyone feels safe and happy to play. I always feel like an air stewardess at that bit. I'm always just like, seatbelts, and this is how we do over here, exits over here. Okay, so with all that said, how are we all feeling, friends? Are we ready to go? I'm waiting because everyone's putting the yes. I'm not the only one that has that. Mine is not even working now.
Ready
I'm
for
being thoroughly
Is this for everybody?
No, I think it's
a Mac
so it's normally
thing.
just me. I think it's an Apple. Yeah. Yeah.
Fried pretzels? I mean, I don't know
It's
if it works for
great.
me now. Okay.
Amazing.
I have a Mac too, but I mean, like, I haven't worked that. No, I don't know. It doesn't work for
I
me.
don't know. So if at any point, especially during a very, dramatic and interesting scene, either Kat's or my screen goes up in like confetti or fireworks, we apologize. 99%
Yeah,
of the time, it happens not voluntarily. So like, I'm
we
like
don't
this,
get
anything
to
that
choose
I'm
for this
doing
to happen. It just
stuff like
does.
that. So we
Mine will do
apologize.
balloons.
Yeah,
That's so
yeah.
cool.
Oh, all right then. If everyone is feeling good and ready for a little bit of chaos, a little bit of mischief, then it is time to begin our tale. So, the kingdom of Pathia was one of many kingdoms that spanned the world in which our tale is set. And like these other kingdoms, it had a ruling family of royals that bettered or worsened the lives of their people as they saw fit. Yet, it found itself in a period of particularly immense suffering for a time when it came to be ruled by the ill-tempered, power-hungry, and incredibly obnoxious King Ronald. From the moment he took the throne, he revelled in the power bestowed upon him, and the people he ruled over found themselves subject to heavier taxations and difficult lives. They grinned and they bore it, as many do when they feel powerless to change things, and they found comfort in their simple customs, simple beliefs, and simple traditions. The ones that assured them that a goodly fairy may one day change their fortune and pave their walls with gold, or that a big bad wolf, eyes glowing in the tree line, must truly be the biggest danger to them, even when things are hard. Over time, though, the king found that total power and endless wealth were still not quite enough, because why would they be? He watched as his people carved tokens to ward off witches, left out milk for brownies to sip upon overnight, murmured prayers for the protection of spirits and small gods, all invisible, all seemingly the figment of a collective imagination. And he grew jealous. It is me they should fear, not goblins and ghouls. It is me they should respect, not fairies and unicorns. It is me they should believe in, not ghosts and boogeymen. Only me, only the power I wield. And so, the king decreed to every city, town, and village across the land that there were to be no more shrines, and no more offerings, no more bedtime tales. These invisible things that the people had created, worshipped, were to exist no longer in the eyes of the people. To honor them over their king was treasonous. And this, of course, was to be the final straw for the cunning folk themselves, for they had worked hard to be feared and respected and believed in. To have this taken away threatened their very existence and the power they wielded within the mortal world, and it would not do. The four of you will begin as just a few in a crowd. Many of your kind, trolls, swamp monsters, werewolves, pixies, all surround you, screeching and hollering to be heard at this moot that has been called together to address this king's decree, headed by the Grand High Witch herself, who calls for order. Order! Order! Quiet! Quiet all! We cannot all go. Only 4 will be chosen. If we all descend upon the mortal realm, it will be in chaos, and there will be naught left for us to haunt. Most of us hate each other anyway. I will hear from everyone and decide myself which of you are worthy. Speak! So, let's start with the Dancing Whisper. I would like you to describe your character. You are sitting at level 1. So I would like you to describe what you look like at level 1. And I would like you to tell the Grand High Witch your tale. Why must it be you specifically that is chosen to go and get revenge on King Ronald? What is your particular bone to pick?
Little Whisper, at this point, at level 1, is a tiny, silky, soft kitten of black. So soft, so dark, that could go unnoticed, except has the most brilliant emerald green eyes. And this little kitten will bounce up onto each of these grand creatures and basically jump onto their heads back and forth and rise above all of them to a higher ground, and will suddenly make out with a loud and out of this little cat's body comes a resonant voice, and he makes his pitch. I should go. As Little Whisper, I heard this king's wishes as a silly prince. I heard him wish upon us that he wanted to have his kingdom be flourishing, that he wanted to have someone by his side and share in all of his riches and his prosperity. And I, as the dancing whisper, the handsome courtier, could find the greatest and most beautiful in the land to be that helpmeet for him. And I, as the master of puppets, was able to control the situation and give that rumor to deter any other suitors and help him win the lady's hand. I should go. I should wreak my revenge upon this king.
Incredible. All right, and the Grand High Witch seems thoughtful and amused by your story. We move on then to... Let's go to Old Mother Grin. Old Mother Grin, please describe what you look like here at level 1. And what is it that King Ronald has done that has upset you so?
At her smallest, Old Mother Grin is, she's no taller than, I guess, like a child, like a normal sized child. And she's got a warm smile. She's wearing a sort of this patchwork cloak, stitched with scraps and fabric, and gifted by many of the villagers long ago. She has, her face is gnarled, with not for old age, but because she told lots of stories and laughed a lot, and her eyes are like a small little twinkle. As she walks by the different types of people and the different types of folks, she smells of earth, of baked apples, with a hint of wood smoke. And she normally does not look very harmless, but there is an edge to her face, and she says, I have lived long. I have seen foolish kings before, arrogant. This one in particular is very, very arrogant. He calls me a myth. He does not leave the milk, as
was promised many years ago. First he makes his stupid and idiotic decrees. Can you believe we are not allowed any more charms? No more offerings? That sort of nonsense must be stopped. It is required that we are offered these charms, that we are offered these offerings. He sent his men to the shrines to destroy our offerings. He has silenced the midwives. He has silenced the hedge mages. He has silenced us all. At one point, he even burned some of our shrines. That is unacceptable. Unacceptable. I demand. No, I require satisfaction. That must not stand. The earth is angry, and we must answer its call.
Yes. All right, that was iconic. Okay. The Grand High Witch is, and the two of you I feel are akin. The two of you are friends. The two of you are coven, and she feels herself that desire for vengeance fires up within her. She nods along with you. Yes, good, yes. And then she goes, who is next? And Segwa, it is your turn, my love. Level 1, please. Level 1 aesthetic. And what is the tale that you have to tell about what this king has done to you?
At her weakest, at her lowest level, Segwa is a tiny, fragile thing, a mere spark of her true self and what she is capable of. She appears above the crowd, kind of floating up as just a pale, ghostly light, flickering like a will-o'-the-wisp, tiny moth-like wings fluttering faintly around her, like a lantern with moths around it. Her form is barely tangible, more like spirit than substance, and her voice carries like a whisper on the wind, yet audible to every person in the crowd. I do not much care for offerings. That has never been my trade. In fact, I benefit from these humans underestimating me and what I am capable of, and not believing in the dangers that I present on the side of the road. However, my trade is in punishing the unjust, in punishing the disloyal, and this king has been unjust, particularly to me. I had a merchant that I have been following, maybe a bit obsessed with, because he was different from all the rest. Men are easy to trick, easy to fool. They fall for it every time. But not this one. He always stayed on his carriage. He never bent to my will, came to my call, and I was fascinated. Yet, one day, amongst his many decrees, he had this merchant taken off the streets. I do not know for what crime. I do not know what the king thought he was up to. But then I find out, from the whispers on the wind, that he had this merchant executed. Now, perhaps my wrath is justified or not, but he has taken my plaything, and as all of you know, we are justified in our playthings. I must go.
And as you tell your story, the various harpies and sirens and mermaids begin to weep along with you. They too have felt this before. They know what it is to lose the one they love, even the one that was supposed to be their prey. Or perhaps both. Either way, you have made a strong case, Segwa. And then comes our final voice. Copper, please tell us what you look like at level 1, and please tell us your tale of what the king did to you.
So in this sea of amazing creatures, small and big, and wide and slimy, and there's all types of colors, all types of shapes, and everyone's in, like, everyone's listening, everyone's paying attention, and it might be a bit difficult at the beginning to hear this tiny little voice that is coming from somewhere in the room, but it's so tiny that it's a bit difficult, and you just hear, "I'm tired! I am tired!" And as this voice slowly gets closer and the crowd part, there's this tiny little chick, like an owl chick, with a cute little, like, teal capelet on his little body, and he's coming towards the front, and he's clearly upset as his feathers are all ruffled, and his eyes are big and sleepy, and he just, with the fury of, a big giant who's threatening a whole country, and it's just his little body, and he gets in front, and he needs people to know. And he says, "I am tired. I am so tired. I haven't been able to sleep properly because of this damn king. I had my beautiful tree in the forest. It was the most beautiful ancient oak, and it was my sleeping place, and I loved it so much until one day I show up for my little nap, and my tree wasn't there anymore. And you know what happened to the tree? That stupid, ignorant ruffian made a throne out of it. He took my beautiful tree, and now it carved it into this ugly, stupid chair and put it in his throne room and sits with his big, stupid buttocks on it all day long. And I don't have a nice sleeping place anymore. And I need to sleep, because if I don't sleep, I get very, very angry. So, I want my tree back. Therefore, I should go." And he just puffs up, like, awaiting kind of like applause, because it's just like he really is the perfect person, or the perfect little bird for the job.
I love Copper. We need to protect Copper. Okay, cool. And I think as you kind of made your way forward, and you're tempted to speak, your voice, it comes out small, but the Grand High Witch is steadfast in her belief of listening to and hearing everyone out, and she raises her hand to silence everyone so that your story can be heard. And many join you. Many tell you about their ancient oaks and their great caves of stone that have been mined and cut down by this king obsessed with expanding his kingdom, his power, his mining his resources down to the very last pebble and stump. They all know your pain. And after a long moot, the Grand High Witch cries, "It is decided, then. Copper, Little Whisper, Old Mother Grin, and Segwa, your stories are most compelling to me. You shall go to the mortal world." And you hear a sort of mixed sound of cheers and boos and screams all around you from your kin, but they then silence once more at the Grand High Witch's gesture. "We are not to be forgotten, folk of Cunning. Make him remember us." And all of you are transported to a beautiful summer's day in Cador, the capital city of the kingdom. As you arrive, you feel the pull of those mortals that still might think on you or still might pay tribute despite the fear of what their king might do to you. You feel that strange shift of knowledge coming into all of your minds. Little whisper. You close your eyes, and for a moment, that is what you hear. Whispers between courtiers, lords and ladies, nobility of the court, as they talk amongst themselves. The city is busy. The city is busy today. The king has guests, royal ones, from a neighboring kingdom. We do not know who planned this visit. Was it the king himself? Oh, no. Could it be his royal advisor, Alistair? Alistair knows everything about the king and what he does. No. Surely it was his mother, the Queen Dowager. Surely she has control over her son's actions still. No one seems sure. That is the nature of rumour, after all. But one thing they can all agree on. The king did not seem pleased to see them here. However, he pulled out every stop that he could to impress them. He wants something from them. You, Old Mother Grin, you take a moment to breathe in your surroundings, and you feel it. You feel that tug. One of your favoured is here at the palace. They come from far away, you can tell. This is not their home. But they have the gift of the sight, and they are a friend to the Cunning folk. Any mischief or magic that is cast in their presence may require one less success than usual in your dice rolls, because they may provide you aid. But take heed, Cunning folk. That does mean it is easier to be seen and easier to over-succeed. Copper. You take a moment to think on the carefully placed coins that you have all around the place, hopeful that someone will pick them up in exchange for small piles of gifts, trinkets, and you are not disappointed. You see a small boy walking by his father's side, and he kneels down and points at one of your coins and says, "Look, a copper from Copper!" And he begins to forage in his pocket, pulling out 3 small marbles to leave in exchange for your coin. And as he begins to set them down, the father leans down and says, "Hush, hush, don't let anyone hear you say that name, boy. Now, leave your marbles, take the coin, yes. Go to your mother. I must go to guard duty today." And the boy looks disappointed for a moment. "But I thought you were home with us today, father." "Oh, well, they've drafted more of us in. It would seem the royal treasury needs a little more guarding than usual today, little one. The king has something special in there." And lastly, Segua, you listen for the voices, to hear how they talk of foolish things such as love. And you hear servants gossiping on the wind, giggling as they do so, talking about the king's son, Prince Caspar. He has seemed so distracted lately. Perhaps he is in love? Perhaps he has seen Segua and cannot stop pining over her, And another replies, laughing in response, well, he has been spending more and more time riding his horses lately. And then the rumor is lost once more on the wind. With those things in mind, cunning folk, you find yourself in the palace grounds. What is it that you would like to do? We are entering our first phase, which my lovely players know is what I like to call the reconnaissance phase. You are here to gather information. You must find a good way to seek revenge on this king and find satisfaction not only for yourselves, but for your brethren, for your kin, for your fellow cunning folk, all who have been wronged by this king's degree, his insolence, and his arrogance. So, in order to do so, you must find out what will hurt the king most.
So for now, we are in this beautiful sunny day, you said, and we're just outside
You are
the castle.
You are just kind of inside the castle. The gates are closed. You are sort of, there's this beautiful lawn kind of stretched out before you, and you can see the castle is there. You are free to tell me sort of how you would like to go about finding more information. You can chase some of the threads that I have laid before you, or you can perhaps go for a wander and see what comes about. It is entirely up to you. It is entirely up to you how you want to group things. Anything, there is no time limit here, my friends. Anything you do can be done over a span of as long as you like in order to prepare the perfect satisfaction. When I say there is no time limit, I don't mean for the stream. There is a time limit for the stream, but just in case I was seeing like slightly panicked faces of like, how long are we streaming for?
Just to do this one.
We can, yes, this could be a 24-hour stream if we wanted to. It can't, no. So with that in mind, my friends, group together, make up a plan of things that you might like to pursue or chase, and tell me what you would like to do.
Are those royal visitors here in the castle?
They are here. They are here today. They are in the castle.
I think little...
Royal visitors. That means there are royal banquets.
And there's also visitors that I can read and find out what they deeply want and desire.
I think there is something very spectacular that has been prepared for these noble guests, or maybe to impress them, or maybe to scare them, or maybe to, I don't know, do human things with them. But a lovely boy that just gave me these cute little marbles, and he kind of like picks up these cute little marbles that he has exchanged for his copper coin, and he's a lovely boy. He always finds something for me. He is the son of one of the guards, and apparently his father is doing an extra shift today, which is not very nice. But other than that, apparently he's guarding something very important in the treasury. So there might be some, I don't know, delicious little treats, or maybe some shiny things, because I think humans like shiny things more than food. And trees, they definitely like stupid stuff more than trees. That's very silly of them. Anyway, maybe there is something that the king is very protective of, or that he wants to exchange with these noble guests. So that might be something that we can look into.
The king doesn't want them here, but he wants something from them, so that makes sense. We need to find out what exactly he wants.
Well, there may
What
be
all
some
of these men want: power and money.
Very true that. I will add one other piece of information that we may want to consider. And that is rumor in the air that the young prince, the king's son, has been distracted of late. Perhaps he is in love, or perhaps that is the reason that we have these royal guests. He might be up for a betrothal. I do not know how old this child is, but he does seem to be taking more horse rides as of late. So, if we need
Alone?
Alone. If we need to isolate him for whatever reason, could be worth doing.
Could be fun.
I would very much like to investigate this banquet and those who are coming to visit. I do feel and sense that there are some who follow the old ways, and we might yet find a way to get to them and have them assist us in any way possible.
Any help?
No, just as this is happening, even if he doesn't really need it, Copper is doing one of those bird baths in the ground. So it's just kind of like fluffing his feathers and like like little dust and particles. Even if it's like he's a spirit and it like how useful it is for his Fae essence, we don't really know, but he just likes going through the motions. So he's just like all puffed up and full of fluff. And he's just sitting full of
Full of fluff. I love it.
Puffed up and full of fluff. This is I
Put that on a t-shirt.
protect this owl. I love this owl so much.
Lovely.
I'm slightly scared about what this owl will become as you level up. Like this owl is giving me like small dog energy where they think that's what I'm getting from this owl. So
but the small dog
maybe
only
there's a reason.
thinks that it's powerful.
Yeah.
when
At level 1.
when Copper gets level 5 or 4, he is powerful.
Alright, my lovely cunning folk. What are we doing? What are we chasing first?
I would like to go to the palace.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to head to the palace and
Mhm.
find that person who is following the old ways.
So you would like to try to seek them out.
Mm-hmm.
And little Whisper will also go to the palace with Old Mother Grim, and then like try to find the royal visitors, and then see if they can intuit their deepest desire to find out why they're here.
Mm-hmm. All right. So the two of you are going to look for the visitors and potentially hoping to find this person that follows the old ways, correct?
Correct.
Correct.
All right. Did anyone else want to do something else? It's absolutely okay to split up as well and do things
I think for
alone as well as
for
together.
now, Copper, if he can't save, maybe he'll go to Old Mother Grin and ask for a lift because he's teeny tiny short and his little leggies. It's just it takes a while for him in this, in this small form to cross the courtyard. So he'll just kind of like sit on your shoulder, and it's just
You see that she leans down and she kind of just like picks you up and like puts you.
That's so
yeah.
cute.
He will kind of like snuggle into your hood
Yes.
and like
It's like right here. Hold on.
Oh, like-
There it
like
is.
So sweet.
Right there.
Oh, this is this.
Oh, forget it. Can't play anymore.
I feel like cunning folk shouldn't be this cute. I feel like cunning folk are supposed to be scary, and we have the
We're
cutest
just little level 1
You're
babies.
at level 1.
You're all
babies.
beautiful and powerful and strong. She's just a little chick.
You're all at level 1 at
Just
the
like
moment.
and she kind of just like reaches into like one of her many pockets and pulls out a little like I don't know whatever you like to eat.
Like some
It turns into whatever you like to eat.
A Werther's original.
A Werther's original.
Just a note. When we start getting into level 3 to 5 territory, this carrying arrangement might be a little more difficult.
might
But for
be-
now,
For now, it's normal.
But now it's adorable. Okay, so you are going into the palace. You are looking at Geth. Segwa, is there anything that you wanted to do differently, or did you want to tag along? What is it you were after to do?
I think I will also enter the palace, but with the intention of seeking out the prince to see if he is there, and if not, seeking out those people who are giving rumors about him and seeing if I can get more information about where he's going or where he's been.
All right, so you are looking for the prince. Okay. So easy enough. You are now, as cunning folk, you are hidden. You are hidden from the mortals. They cannot see you, but obviously as you make mischief and do things, there is a chance that your presence and yourselves, be it tiny or huge, could be revealed. And it is easier to be revealed the bigger that you are. So you are heading into the palace. You find these guests fairly quickly, I think. You kind of walk your way into, like, you sort of follow around, and you can see there's a lot of scurrying around. Servants are kind of dashing here, there, and everywhere, but trying not to look like they're dashing or running or in any kind of hurry. They're trying to look very put together and professional, but you will all know that sort of slight stressed look in their eyes. This is definitely a huge deal, whatever is going on here, and they want it to be right. You end up following where someone is kind of taking a sort of tea trolley that seems to have all sorts of very fancy looking goodies upon it, and you find yourself in a small-ish but very pretty courtyard. There are beautiful flowers and plants. There are great ostentatious displays of wealth in the way that the columns rise up, and the various busts and statues and ornamentation found in this kind of small oasis-like garden within the palace walls. And in this area, a few people sit. You see a tall lady. She has dark skin, and sort of her hair is kind of combed back, and she is sitting next to someone who is younger than her, who looks an awful lot like her. Younger, beautiful, long hair. She's been made up to the nines. She looks like she's here to impress. And they kind of sit in this garden, and the servant pulls up with this trolley and this tea, and begins to serve it. And next to them, but sort of sat almost a little off from them, I would say, is younger still, and looks mildly like them, but she is she's still wearing this kind of clothing of nobility, but not from the. All three of them are not wearing clothing from the fashion of this kingdom, so these look to be the visitors. But she's sitting a little off, and she's just kind of sort of staring at the birds. She's watching a butterfly kind of make its way across, and smiling and humming softly to herself. She seems incredibly distracted. She's slightly slouched. She's a little bit bored looking, in all honesty, while the other two are kind of straight backed and very regal and professional looking in their manner. And opposite them is an elderly man. He has a sort of cane next to him, and something of a rodent-like look to his features and his manner. and he is in deep conversation with this adult lady. They seem to be discussing I would say, Little Whisper, you would probably kind of recognize this, being of the kind of folk that you are. They seem to be having one of those veiled conversations where they are talking about the weather and about various sort of seemingly mundane things, but within the sentences they are saying is almost like this intense political negotiation happening. They seem to be talking, and he's talking about how the princess, her daughter, is looking so beautiful, and how she, the young prince, I know, has been so enamored by her. It would seem that the young prince has just stepped away from this situation, and they sort of gently cast their eyes in the direction that he seems to have gone. So if you were looking to follow the prince, Segwa, you would be able to do so in this moment.
I think Little Whisper gives Segwa like a meaningful glance, but Little Whisper will like remain and kind of focus on the princess. I mean, it's obvious like which one's the princess, yeah?
Yes, she is sat next to her mother, and she is straight backed, and she's half listening, she's half writing in something. So she has like a sort of journal, and she's kind of writing, but she keeps looking up and listening to the conversation.
I would like to use can I use magic, or do I have to have something?
You have, because you are level 1, you have one piece of magic that you are able to do without any successes.
Right.
You will have to level up to use some of your more powerful magics.
Of course, yeah.
But you can still do mischief. Like if
you can still do mischief, yes.
Things.
Right.
Yes.
But no, I mean, I want to use my level 1 wish to intuit the princess's deepest desire. I'm looking right at her.
Ooh, all right. You're looking right at her. For a moment, you're sort of looking at this princess, and she seems sort of like vaguely half listening to what's going on here and half kind of writing. And then you almost sort of find yourself within her mind for a moment. For her deepest desire is really what she is writing about currently in her diary. And you hear this sort of echoing voice. It is her thinking out loud the words that she is writing. And she says, "My only hope is that I can find a match worthy that Mother will be proud of. But I do hope for love within that match. The gentleman that I met in the kingdom of Sardonia, he was a strong contender, and Mother liked him, but she has implored that I remain open to see what Prince Caspar can offer me. He seemed kind, and I am willing to give him a chance, but he seemed distracted also. Still, we have just got here. Time will tell." And what you glean from that, Little Whisper, is that the princess is here to potentially make a betrothal arrangement to Prince Caspar. This seems to be kind of what this intense political negotiation is happening, though the gentleman that is talking is certainly not the king. This is another gentleman, a political advisor, perhaps this Alistair that was mentioned before. And she is hoping to fall in love. This is her deepest desire. She wants to fall in love and make a match with a person that she can be in love with. And she seems to have been more impressed with a previous suitor that she has met. So this display, what is happening here, is going to have to be very impressive in order to sway both the princess and the queen away from the kingdom of Sardonia. It would be awful if something embarrassing were to happen to stop this from going on.
He can't help himself. I mean, even as he's looking and he's hearing these thoughts, he's just like, and he's just like purring to himself, and it's loud. So they might. Actually, no, they won't, because it's like he could come up as a silky black cat, but a silky black kitten. But I mean, he's just purring to himself in this little corner that he's watching from.
Kat, I have a quick question.
Yes.
Has Copper ever been in the palace? Like, I know I've been in the town because it's one of the places where I scatter my coins. But because you mentioned that I already have some of the coins around. Do I have coins around the palace? Do I know more or less the structure?
So, what I will say to you is that I think Copper places coins where coins are they're copper coins, right? So they are not the most valuable shinies. So the posh people, the rich people, they probably wouldn't pay huge amounts of attention to a small copper coin on the floor. However, you may have a more elaborate understanding of areas like the servants' quarters or the kitchens or places where the servants are, who would certainly pay attention if they saw a copper coin. And we all know as well that servants are far more likely to be superstitious and far more likely to believe in the tales and things that they read about the cunning folk, so are much more likely to yield you small things, piles of crumbs, little knickknacks, things that they find in order to claim their copper coin that they find upon the floor.
That's perfect. Was hoping for, because my main interest in this case is like trying to understand, because we've heard that the prince has gone somewhere, and I don't know if we have seen maybe the figure, like a faraway figure moving, but if I have an idea of where maybe like the stables might be. So like if they're like, oh yes, the prince went, and they're looking somewhere.
Yes.
If
so
I have an idea
I
of
would
like,
say
oh, he might be going to the
you
stables.
would know for sure. Yes, you would know the direction that they looked at, and perhaps the direction that I think Segwa might be interested in heading towards momentarily. It is towards the stables. And I think Segwa as well, being of the kind of disposition that you would probably know that the stables are in that direction as well.
Okay, then I will whisper into Old Mother Grin's ear as I see maybe Segwa, if she starts moving, say, "I'll see you soon," and I will use my level 1 magic, and I can teleport to a place that I see.
Teleporting owl!
And so I will go like literally go and I will appear on Segwa's shoulder, and I'll just take a lift again from
It's more like floating in the ball of light that is me.
Yeah, it's just kind of like we're hanging out.
I'm picturing this like tiny little like will-o-wisp with these like little moth wings, and they're trying to fly, and then just this owl appearing on top of them, and then just this dip of light as they desperately try to like
slightly fly at this level. It's just kind of like
both of
like
you just,
so you're not like.
Have you all watched Spirited Away? It's giving me like that the little crow trying to hold the hamster up.
Yes.
This is what this is giving me.
It's like the little owl now has a halo.
Cute.
Yes.
Love that.
Yes.
It's staticky now. Like his feathers are all bit. Right. But yeah.
All right.
It's saying Segwa, because there might be horses there, and some of them occasionally I have chats with, so maybe I can help.
All right. So the two of you, I'm hearing, are going to go head off towards the
Yeah,
stables.
so
Is that
just
correct?
kinda, like, to also see if anyone needs help, so we have kind of like no one's fully on their own.
All right. What I will give dear old Mother Grin before you head off to the stables. You cast your eye around. You are looking for this person that might be a friend to the folk, that might give you some level of advantage within these situations as you kind of as you try to make your way through this mission. And your eyes land upon the youngest princess, sort of, as I mentioned before, slouched. She's watching the butterflies, she's watching the birds. She has no interest in anything that is happening in the mundane world, for everything that is magical around her is in nature and is in the small wonders and miracles of the things happening far, far away. And as you look at her, her gaze drifts around and she watches as Segwa and Copper sort of fly away, and she smiles softly to herself and almost kind of lifts her hand in this sort of farewell motion, sighs, and then looks back to the sky. You have found your person. Okay. So I'll let you ruminate on what you might want to do with that. And in the meantime, Erin and Naomi, Segwa and Copper, tell me, you head out towards where you think the prince might have headed. You know kind of the general direction to the stables. And I think as you arrive there, you watch as he moves towards the stables, but instead of going inside, he walks round the side of the building and behind it.
Whoa.
I mean, yeah, I would certainly like try to. I think maybe rest atop the building to not draw too much attention, and see if we can peek over the side.
Yeah, seems like a good idea. Copper will ride along.
All right. Okay, so you make your way around, and you see that behind the stable, he is not alone. There is another young man there, and they the young man is kind of just situated. He's eating an apple. He's kind of leaned back and he's kind of playing with the grass. He seems like he's waiting, and the prince kind of draws up around the corner, and you hear him say, I'm so sorry I'm late. You know I can't get away from. And the young man responds, oh, I know, you fancy folks got your fancy things that you gotta do, you know. And they kind of smile at each other. And Segwa, that is certainly a smile that you know and understand.
Ooh.
That's so cute. I'm sorry. Me, Naomi thinks that's so cute. Hold on. Okay. Interesting. Okay.
Interesting indeed.
As Copper is doing that owl thing, which is like stretching his little neck.
I think I want to wait and gather more information before I do anything. So I want to like listen in on their conversation a little more before I try to act.
All right. So I'm just going to check something here. Bear with me one moment. All right. So, you're really just listening in at this point, yes?
Yeah.
That's easy enough, I would say. I think so. Okay, so you kind of settle yourself down next next to these two, and the prince kind of draws himself down next to this man, and they begin to talk. And it's clear that the conversation is easygoing between them. They're clearly very close, and they kind of laugh, but at the same time, the young boy that he's meeting kind of turns and he says, "Casper, you seem distracted today. What's bothering you?" And Casper says, "It's this princess. I'm supposed to impress her, and I have a feeling I know why I am supposed to impress her, and I don't think I want to impress her in that way, because I don't want to marry her, Eric. I want to marry you." And Eric smiles and says, "Well, that's a nice dream. It is. If I could marry you, I would marry you. But I might be the master of the stables, but I am no noble. Your father will never allow it."
Ouch. Oh, that's rough. Okay.
That's rough, buddy.
Oh no. Okay. Interesting. So, I think Segwa is really interested in this development, namely because she has no quarrel with the prince himself. It is with the king, and she also is very punishing of disloyalty, but there is some loyalty about the feelings that Casper is expressing here, that he wants to be true to his feelings, that he doesn't want to engage in this farce. And so a plan begins percolating in my brain, but I think we should all reunite to discuss it before any action is taken. So I basically tell as much to Copper. Like, I think we have some good information here. Do you feel like you need to stay, or do you want to go ahead and...
No, I think Copper agrees with you. He likes Eric. Eric is a nice young chap. He always takes his little coins and lives in...
Absolutely. Eric is definitely one of those boys that takes the coin and leaves like little little... Normally it's sugar cubes, because that's the treats he has on him for the horses, but
so it's double points for Eric, because not only he takes his little bargains, but he also leaves him like edible treats, which is the plus. So he says, "I don't see anything wrong with him. He likes horses. He gives me treats. Maybe he likes trees. So he could be a cool prince of the prince."
Prince
whatever.
Of the prince.
Yes. It's just like imagining a world where like the prince makes everyone leaves sugar cubes for him. And he's just like, yeah, I like the other prince of the stables.
Prince of the Stables. You're just creating like some folklore.
Prince Eric
on
of
its
the
own there.
Stables.
We have nothing against the Prince of the Stables.
Prince Eric.
Or Prince Casper,
Yeah,
like
no.
Not
like
the
right
master
now.
of stables,
We have
because
problems
that would
with King Ronald.
Yeah, he would be
What?
like, the king of the stables is the master of the stables, so he is clearly the prince of the stables because he's the second after the master of the stables. Therefore, he's also a prince. That's
what I will do to give you kind of the opportunity to create a little mischief here, if you wanted to, is he's being very surface level on the way he feels. He may reveal more information if he feels a little more at ease right now, because you can tell there's a sort of tension between them. Really, they want to talk about this further, but neither wants to upset the other. So if you can think of an interesting piece of mischief that might maybe kind of break that tension between them, break that ice a little bit, and make them feel a little bit more comfortable with each other in this moment, they might sit and have a kind of a bigger conversation about what's going on and give you a little bit more.
Sorry, I just looked at the chat.
Oh my goodness, it's gonna be like Kiss the Girl from,
Kiss the Girl!
from Little Mermaid. You absolutely could do that if you want.
It's daytime.
I have a
Let's
fun,
go. Let's go. Let's like
silly
this into the montage.
I don't know if it will be picked up by the. Let's see. So Copper will kind of like walk to the stables, or like teleport a little bit to like the beginning of the stables, and we get like a little bit of hay, kind of like from the ground, because it's probably all over the place. And he will go back and he will kind of like join Segwa again at the top, at the edge of the roof, and he will drop a little bit, kind of like to have a little piece of hay, kind of like to get stuck in like the prince's hair.
Oh,
To
That's
kind of
so
like,
cute!
but have it kind of like land, kind of like exactly, kind of like here in a way that maybe the prince doesn't see immediately, but there's no way he can go back to the noble guests with a piece of hay sticking in his hair.
absolutely
Like,
not.
he's
To
always
do so would be a travesty. All right.
Gorgeous.
What I'll
gorgeous.
do is we're gonna real quick hit break, because we seem to be having a few technical issues on Diana's end, and then we'll come back. Segwa, you tell me what your thoughts and feelings are on all this, and if there's anything that you want to do, and then we will make some mischief. So thank you everyone for joining so far. I'm really loving these cunning folk that we've met, and hopefully we can get these little tech gremlins sorted out, because the gremlins are coming for us, and we will be back shortly. So see you in a mo.
See you soon.
Hello, we have returned. Folks, it's funny that I should use that term when we're playing the Cunning folk. We have been plagued by tech gremlins for a moment there, so sorry about that. It looks like the spirits are trying to curse the stream as we speak. Maybe it's because we're invoking their names just a few too many times. We apologize to that. We'll leave some milk out tonight. We'll do whatever we need to do. Hopefully the gremlins have been smited. If we run into them again, we might have to pop off again. But we'll try not to let that happen. We shall not let, as Jen has put in the chat, we shall not let the gremlins prevail. Don't you worry. So we'll pick up where we left off, which I believe was some attempt of recreating Kiss the Girl from The Little Mermaid. In order to try to, we have two lovelorn men. One is a prince and the other a stable boy, and they are trying really hard not to talk about the thing in fear of upsetting the other, but they're both pretty clearly upset by the situation. You might be able to find some more information if you make a little mischief, and in this case it looks like romantic mischief. So let's see where we go. So we know that Copper is planning to attempt to fishing wire some hay into the prince's hair in the hopes to kind of get them having to interact with each other a little bit more. Segwa, is there anything that you wanted to do? I cannot hear you currently. You might be muted. Nope.
Oh no!
Oh no!
They're gremlins!
I don't think you are hard muted. Okay, it's fine. Everyone, Segwa has had their voice stolen. So.
Okay.
Oh.
Ah, we heard you. We heard you.
We're back.
Fantastic.
Magical Jen.
Thank our magical producer, who is the cunning
Thank you,
folk
Jen.
that is on our side right now. Okay, please, Segwa, tell me what you were about to say.
Yes. So I wanted to kind of add on to Copper's attempt and vibe here. And so if he's going to drop the hay in the hair, then I kind of want to do that halo effect that we talked about earlier, kind of add a little extra light behind the prince's head. So it just looks extra majestic golden hour for him.
I love it. So we're gonna basically, you're like the photographer's assistant. You're gonna put the prince in his best light. We're gonna absolutely bamboozle, but we're also making the prince look as messy as possible by putting hay in the hair. We're gonna see how this goes. I am told in the book that it is absolutely imperative that I declare it is time to make mischief. So I've just done that. Shall we get a roll in? I think, let me just have a look. So I have a little guide here that tells me different levels of mischief. And honestly, these feel like pretty easy levels of mischief to me. I would say that you would need one success, and you are only level 1 anyway. So I would say that you would need one success. So you either need to roll a 4, a 5, or a 6. If you manage to roll that, you are successful and you will level up. And if you fail in rolling that, well, you don't fail in the Cunning Folk. It just causes a twist. It just makes the plan not quite go as you expected, as it were, and it might provide fresh opportunities. So let's see how you do. If the two of you could each roll a d6 for me.
2.
1.
Oh no! A 2.
Incredible. Fantastic. So the gremlins have just gone straight to your dice rolls, is what we're saying. They're preying on you. Okay, so this is how I think it happens. I think, and it's imperative to note that you will not be seen in a failure. You are only seen if you over succeed, and that is what causes you to level down. Not that you can level down right now. So what I will say happens is, Copper, you make your way, or I guess Segor probably helps you up to this, to the sort of the roof of the stable. You've kind of gathered yourself a little piece of hay, and like you got like a little pile next to you, so that you could start to slowly maybe sort of snow hay down, just hoping that bits of it will kind of catch in the hair, and you sit on this roof. And as you do, you kind of pick up a little bit of this hay, and you begin to kind of attach it to the hook and begin to sort of slowly wire it down. A gust of wind comes along, and this hay is picked up just for a moment in the breeze, before being promptly dropped straight onto the prince and the stable master's head. At the same time,
I was only going for a little piece of thread. I was not gonna chuck a whole.
And a whole load has just fallen on them. As well as that, you are trying your best to keep balance because of this gust of wind, and in the process, the hook with the piece of hay that does it kind of hooks onto the prince's jacket, and you are now unable to tug it free. So you are now basically accidentally. So he's like kind of like being hoisted up ever so slightly, and meanwhile, Segwa, you at this point you see this piece of hay has started to come down. You know this is your cue. You dive right in and you go in, and in an attempt, as you see this rainfall of hay start to come down and you realize things are going very wrong, you try to stop this hay, and in the process you lose control of just how brightly you're shining for a moment, and you flash stun them right in front of their eyes. So what is supposed to be this beautiful romantic moment just ends up being like they're just like like, and then they're just covered in hay. There's definitely a little bit of horse dung kind of attached to certain pieces of this hay as well, and then the prince tries to lean forward to kind of start to get the hay off of Eric, and then he's promptly pulled back as Copper is like trying to keep balance. It does not quite go how you planned. However, they, after much swearing and probably a lot of expletives, I would say, comes out at this point, they sort themselves out, they start to get this off, and then they start to laugh. And they kind of calm down, and Eric goes, "Well, you look ridiculous." And Casper goes, "Speak for yourself. What the heck was that? I've heard of raining, I've heard of snowing, I've certainly never heard of it haying before. Is there one of your spirits and things that makes it rain hay?" And they kind of give themselves a little chuckle. And they sigh. And they look at each other. I don't know what the future holds for us, but I want it to be us, and I don't know how to make that happen. I just could really do with someone on our side, you know? And he says, why is it that your father needs you to marry this princess? What is it about this princess that's so special? Oh, it's not the princess. He doesn't care about the princess or the queen. It's It's the diamond set, the set of diamonds. The dowry. That's what he cares about. He is always trying to increase his wealth, increase his power, make himself look better and better, and that set of diamonds is worth so much. And they've brought it with them, of course, and the moment he saw it, it was just eyes big, and he got that look about him. He's set on this, and I don't know how to change his mind. I don't know how to do it. And Eric
The
smiles.
Operator goes, "We do."
Are you trying to talk to them?
No, he's kind of like having like he's very, very interested in this conversation. It just suddenly goes, "We do," and then he's like, "Oh, maybe they can hear him." And so he's just like, "Woo, woo."
I think they both just kind of go, "Huh? What?" And then the prince goes, "Was that someone calling me? I can't be late." And they begin to kind of brush themselves off. Eric is trying desperately hard to pull bits of hay off of clothes and out of hair. And we'll leave that there for a moment, I think.
One question, real quick.
Go on, Segwa, go on.
Just was wondering, on a rules check, since we both failed, do we get luck because we failed?
You do!
Okay.
Yes, you do. Okay, yes, an incredible mechanic of the game that I absolutely just almost forgot about then. So yes, you both, because like I said, failure, it I reward you for failing. Sometimes failure happens and that's okay, and it ends up with hilarious results. So, in this case, you get a little luck. You feel the winds after they have blown hay all over your plans slightly turn in your favor, and what luck allows you to do is, if you fail, you can mark a point of luck. So please keep track of your luck, and you can use it to add or remove dice from your pool after you roll. So it means that if you fail, you will be able to add another dice and potentially succeed. If you over-succeed, but you don't want to over-succeed, you can take a success away, or you can mark as many luck points as you have to take successes away, or add dice if you wish to. So the two of you now have 1 luck point. Thank you so much for reminding me. I'm so glad someone's keeping an eye on the rules of this game. Cool. So we will leave that there. We will leave Copper and Segwa to kind of figure out what it is that they might want to do next. We'll move back, I think, to Old Mother Grin and Little Whisper. Tell me both. Is there anything in particular that you wanted to do in this moment? You have the princess's deepest desire. You know what it is she's after. You know maybe some of the stakes that are at that are in peril in this meeting. So, what is it that you're after?
I would very much like to go and talk to the daughter and see if she has, like, what are her desires, or what, they never pay attention to the small ones, and the ones whose minds are in the clouds. They always pay it. Those are the ones that pay attention the most. So I do want to go and speak to her. And see what she's kind of picked up, just from the collective sharing of knowledge. I do have some ideas of mischievous things that I wish to do, but I would like to collect some more info.
All right. So is there a little bit of mischief that you would like to make to try to attract the daughter's attention? She has definitely seen that there are cunning folk about, but she seems very preoccupied with bird watching at the moment. So is there something that you would like to do to try to attract her attention?
I would like for if she's bird watching, I'd love a bird to fly by her above her and maybe do a little poop on her. And that will get her to clean her face, and then I'll just be right there with a little napkin.
Oh my goodness. Okay, fantastic. Yes. Easy enough.
Poop.
You can easy enough. I will allow this to be an easy task, one success. All I require is for you to roll to see if you can if you can make a bird at that moment, at the precise moment, need to defecate upon a princess. So let's see if you can do it.
So just roll what you said, one die?
I would like you to roll 1d6 for me.
Oh yeah, got it. A 3.
Oh, that's a failure. Okay, so you can mark 1 luck point, so you have a luck now.
Okay.
You're not going to fail. It just goes a little differently to how you expected. So the bird was supposed to just sort of fly down, and kind of as flying overhead, release some elegant amount of droppings in order to, honestly, I'm just trying to find different ways of saying poo at this point, and kind of land gracefully so that you may appear as a sort of comforting mother-like figure next to them and begin to dab at them and help them out. What actually happens is, as you begin to make your way over and you pick your bird and you cast upon them, you trip slightly on a rock, and the energy, the level of energy that you send up to this bird begins to get a very dodgy stomach, and an absolute torrent as this bird sort of cheats and dive bombs towards you. It leaves like a almost like a sort of splash line along, and it does go all the way up this princess's dress. And she, for what it's worth, she's the dreamy kind of person. She looks more shocked than anything. She's kind of like, oh dear, what a mess. Oh no.
Dear.
And then she looks at you and she goes, "Did you make it do that?"
Yes and no, but who is to say what causes birds to release their bowels? You know?
I mean, this is quite an expensive dress. Did you have to make it do that much? Oh no! And she kind of gets a little like handkerchief and starts trying to making it worse. The advisor, for what it's worth, Alistair the advisor, he kind of looks up and he looks and he says, "I'm sorry, your Royal Highness. Who is she talking to?" And the Queen kind of goes, "Oh, Sarah dear, will you keep it down? She's young. She has imaginary friends. Let us continue our discussion." And then they kind of continue talking to each other. And she's just like, "It's just a lot of mess now. Mother's not going to be very happy with me."
Well, you are your own person, dear. You can make your own decisions. Much as of what is happening today, it seems like it is such a exciting several sort of day today, don't you think?
Oh yes, very exciting. Well, I don't know. It depends really. It's more exciting for my sister than for me.
Why your sister?
She gets to choose who she wants to marry, and she might marry the prince here, but there is a prince in another place that she likes a little better. Not that the prince here isn't nice. He's lovely. He's so kind, but well, she doesn't think he's very interested in her, and we don't really like his father.
Well, can I tell you a secret, little one?
Oh, I'm very good at keeping secrets, yes.
She looks to the side. She goes, I don't like him very well either.
He's quite mean.
He is very
So-
mean. It's
He doesn't believe in spirits and ghosts and things. In fact, did you know when I tried to tell him about a magical bird I saw the other day, he shushed me? Who shushes a princess?
who shushes anyone with no consideration of the feelings. Now, if I was to suggest, and you tell me what you think, if I was to suggest that we play some form of a prank on him, maybe that will help your sister in some way, don't you think?
A prank?
It could be terribly, terribly fun and exciting.
When perhaps that will embarrass him.
Very, very much.
Well, let me think. So, my mother told me that, they were trying really hard to impress her here. In fact, she said they were trying too hard, which is a sure sign that she is far more powerful than they are. But one of the things that she heard that they did was sent all of the pest control they have in their employee to get rid of every single rat in the palace, just because she mentioned that she's scared of them. She doesn't like rats. She's terrified of them.
Oh. Well, I think I may have a little bit of an idea.
It would be dreadfully embarrassing for him if he were to have missed one, you know?
Definitely. Can you point me to the direction of the kitchens?
Absolutely. And she turns to the servant, who at this point is beginning to, take some things back. And she goes, "Excuse me, whereabouts is the kitchens?" And he goes, "Oh, Your Majesty, you've no need to go there. We can fetch you any food or drink that you might want." She goes, "Oh, no, please. I just really want to understand where everything is in the palace so that I don't get lost. Can you tell me?" And he goes, "Oh, yes, servants' quarters are sort of over in that way, and the kitchens are just next to it. See that large building? You'll find underneath, that's where we keep, close to the dining room." "Yes, that makes sense. Yes, yes." And she turns back, and she begins to repeat right in front of this servant, "So the kitchens are over there."
I heard it, dear. Don't worry, don't worry. I shall return
Okay.
with wonderful, wonderful, and fun adventures, don't you think?
Perfect. All right. Okay.
I'm
And
going. I would very much like to. So the reason I'm going to the kitchens, I would very much like to, you see, or I guess you don't see, you see her become even sort of smaller, and venture into like a crack in in the side of a wall, and and she calls and man, I wish one of you were with me. I don't know. Wait, Mads, you're not with me, are you?
mute, unmute. We can't hear you still. You are.
I could be if you needed me to. I
No,
wanted to do something to Alistair, but I mean, like,
no,
you know,
go
if you
for
need
it.
to.
Go for it. You go, Alistair. I will go.
You,
I will go
while
into
you're
the crack.
having this conversation, we can head over to see what the little whisper has been doing with Alistair, and then the
Yes,
two of you
go
are
for
able
it.
to reconvene to do something together if you so wish. So let's head over to Little Whisper momentarily. What have you been doing to our dear friend Alistair?
After figuring out what the princess desires, which has been very delicious to hear, actually, and actually nice to hear that she already has like a favorite elsewhere, because we really don't want King Ronald to win. I think you know, Little Whisper's attention goes over to Alistair, and just notices how very rat-like he looks. And I think Little Whisper overhears the conversation about, you know, how much the Queen doesn't like rats.
Oh no, I can see where this might go.
I don't know if there's something that I can say or do to convince the Queen that maybe, just maybe, how very much Alistair looks like possibly his pets. Smells a little rat, like a little rat himself, doesn't he? Smells very rat-like.
Ooh. Okay. So because I would need it to be kind of at an easy level, so I wouldn't be able to like I don't think at this stage you'd be able to like transform him into a rat or
no, like
anything like that.
To kind of like whisper a rumor that, like, you know, he either has rats or he smells like a rat.
I see. Okay, let me just see. Is that one of your magics?
It's one of my magics, but I mean, like, you know, I don't, and like, you know, for a piece of mischief, I mean, I was just gonna like claw at his pants, but I mean, like, you know, to get him to drop trowel, but I mean, that was just gonna be something minor. I was going to do.
Here's what I think, because this particular piece of magic that you're trying to do requires 2 successes, and at the moment you only have 1d6 at your disposal, so you would not be able to perform that quite yet. However, what I would say is I will allow you to try to do some piece of mischief that will perhaps cause a disruption in their conversation for a moment, or something that will distract, that will hopefully earn you a success, that will then allow you to perform this piece of magic straight after.
Sure.
Yeah?
Maybe if you scare him, he's gonna squeak like a rat.
That's a hope,
yeah.
I mean, I was thinking about, like, you know, I mean, Little Whisper does have claws, so. I mean,
Ooh, I love that. Okay, so yes, let's say that you are going to perhaps try to give him a little fright with your claws, then, and get him squeaking, hopefully, and see where you go. So if you could roll me 1d6, please.
Let's see. It's been a while since these dice have been warmed up. Oh God.
No, it's not a one! You're
that dice gremlins win again! I hate
You're like rolling so terribly.
I want to hear how really awful this is. Let's go. Let's go.
You had one job.
One job,
what
damn it.
What I'm really loving about this is we were all so excited to really show off like a system where you get to like level up and level down, and so far no one is leveling up at all. All right. So, you okay.
I can basically tell you that his plan was to sidle up to the back of Alistair, and I guess, like, you know, like try to, like, you know, get to a point where either underneath his robes or like the part between his shirt and his trousers or whatever, and like, you know, pretty much just kind of like sidle up, like open up his paw to reveal his claws, and then just do a nice little swipe. That was his plan. Tell me how this gets messed up.
So I think that how this gets messed up is you severely underestimate Alistair's composure. And you do the thing. You sidle on up, you get those claws in, you take a great big swipe. And the most you get out of him, instead of this sort of like yelp or squeak, or because I think that you planned it perfectly so it would be just the right amount of pressure that should produce just the right noise that sounds like a rat that hopefully will then allow you to perform this spell. But instead, you swipe and you find yourself thoroughly disappointed as the most that he does is blink hard and go yes, the queen kind of frowns and she says, "Is everything all right?" And he goes, "Yes, perfectly fine, just fine." And she goes, "You look a little unwell. Should we reconvene a little bit later?" And he's like, "There is something I must check upon. In fact, I will be back momentarily. Please, make yourself comfortable." And he begins to slowly get up, slightly wincing, but it did not have the desired effect that you were hoping for. And he kind of jumps almost at the sound of that and slightly looks around, but he is a professional. He is a politician. He knows how to pull a good poker face. What I will say is this was an excellent idea, and certainly perhaps a bit later or even in your revenge plan, this is definitely something that you could think about incorporating. He certainly has rat-like features and would make an excellent rat. And Little Whisper probably does not like to fail, so would probably love a chance to pull something like that off again. But perhaps we will have to save it for another time in another part of the conversation. Diana and Mads, you are going to stay together and potentially head off to the kitchens, is that correct?
Oh yeah. And Little Whisper's probably like bitching it at Old Mother Grimm and saying, "I can't believe he actually stood his ground."
We'll get him. We'll get them. We'll get them. They're extra. They seem to be extra resilient, don't you think?
It's like the winds are in their favor today for some reason.
Terribly obnoxious.
Yes. If we can get them both, the king and Alistair, that would be delicious, wouldn't it?
Extremely.
Let's head back over to Copper and Segwa. And I would like you to have a think. I think that what we have unearthed so far in terms of what the king cares about is he is looking for this betrothal to go through. He wants this set of jewelry,
which is probably
which
what is in the treasury.
Which is
this point.
You can. I'm certain that Copper, you would be able to deduce that at that point. This is probably what is sitting in that treasury and is being
definitely
heavily
the type of shiny
guarded.
that would be heavily guarded. Yeah.
So that's a possibility for something that you could do in order to embarrass. I mean, it's under guard because it's very precious. It's very precious to the royal family that are visiting, and it's certainly precious if this marriage were to go through to the king. So if something were to happen to it, that would also be very terrible. But you would have to perhaps do a little information finding to figure out a way of how you might go about doing something to it. So that's one avenue you could explore, or you could try to find a little more information out another way. You're looking to find out the things that the king really cares about.
Okay, so if I mean, I guess if we wanted to find out more about the treasure, we would probably have to go to the treasury, like where we know that there's guards and stuff like that. So maybe figure out who's guarding it. But I imagine we would need probably the whole team to try and pull a heist.
Or at least be higher level where we could do more stuff.
Yeah.
Because right now, all I can do is see in the dark. So I don't have a lot to work with.
Here's
I can
here's
teleport
my thing.
inside the treasury if I can see it.
Wait a minute, isn't your friend's father the guard friend?
Yeah, but I don't know if I can just present myself to him and say, "Hi, I'm the little creature that you
I'm gonna
killed."
go ahead and say
Other kid's
probably
friend.
not.
Yeah, I didn't think about. I mean, I can ask. I might be able to ask the kid, but I don't think the kid has any information on the treasury.
I think as cunning folk, things done hidden is probably better, better for you, or things done kind of behind disguises and veils and things like that. That air of mystery is always good.
I mean, in a way, I guess that's like maybe not stealing, but like hiding the diamonds and like making the king feel like we've taken them might be a good treat for like, I want my tree back. You give me your throne, and I make you find the diamonds again, even if we don't have to remove them from the treasury. But like,
you don't
them
necessarily
hidden.
have to get into the treasury. That could be part of your revenge plan a little bit later on. But it might be worthwhile, for example, trying to figure out a way of how do you get into the treasury? Does it require keys? And if so, is there somewhere that we could steal those keys from in an attempt? So that could be a kind of small sort of mischief that you would be able to do to try to level up a little bit and maybe begin to get some things together for a plan.
Yeah, sure. Would I guess we can maybe like try to figure out who. I mean, we know that the father of the little boy is on guard duty, but he's the father of my friend, so I don't really want to steal keys from him and put him in trouble because he's the dad of my friend. But maybe there is a god who's a bit nasty and is more on the king's side of like, these are just silly, stupid stuff. So I might do some mischief and steal their keys, or or get some information from them.
Yep, absolutely. Segwa, what is it that are you wanting to split off and do something else, or are you wanting to aid in this endeavor in some way?
I think aiding in the endeavor works for me for now. I think I got the information that I wanted, so I'm down to help.
All right. So, absolutely. And I think you would know this. You know this little boy. He's one of these little kids that really kind of makes almost a mission of trying to find your coppers. It's like a little game for him, and he tries to find your little copper coins, and he always leaves like interesting. Normally it's marbles. He collects marbles, but he finds really interesting ones, and he finds them for you, specifically for like. He has a little pile and he calls them coppers marbles, and he picks out the best ones to take with him that day, and then he goes hunting for coins. And that's his little game that he plays, and that's, since the decree has come out, he's not really been allowed to play it quite so much. He's had to play it quietly, and that's been quite upsetting for him. You know that. You would also know from kind of like these moments when he does that, and you get a little glimpse into kind of what's going on with him, and it's almost like a comfort kind of we'll call him Thomas, seeing Thomas's little world. But you know that his father is a hard worker, and complains often about his shift manager, the kind of the head guard, as it were, who constantly puts him on these awful shifts and really doesn't let him spend as much time with Thomas as he would like, despite the fact that he has said repeatedly that his son is growing up, he wants to be a little bit more present in his life, and play with him, this guard is not having it and constantly puts him on night shifts, meaning that he has to sleep throughout the day, and it's just, you know, it's just not been great, especially recently. And so you would know, yeah, that this particular guard, and this guard will be there. If all of the guards have been called in to be on double duty to guard this treasury, this head guard will certainly be there, and will certainly be the one looking after the special set of keys.
Lovely. So yeah, so with Segwa, if she's along with me, we'll probably do the same weird flying thingy, shining aura little chick thing, and we'll head to the kind of like the guard post closest to the treasury, or like where maybe like this guy would be essentially giving out orders and doing the least amount of work whilst trying to look as important as possible, and yeah, probably try and steal his keys or make him lose them in some way and get a hold of them.
Okay. Do you you could go for a classic someone distract and someone grab the keys technique. I know that one of you is particularly fond and particularly skilled in the art of distraction, so that might be a way that you could go if you wanted to.
Yeah, I think that would be great. I think that he would be the type of person to make people do his busy work. So I think if we did a distraction that was like, someone's here and it's a problem, he would assign somebody else to it. So I'd like to use a finer hand, and perhaps like after some of the regular guards have left and he's alone in the hallway for a moment, around the corner, like somewhere else, allowing myself to be audible and to either like call his name or like give a woman's giggle, like some sort of alluring sound to try and draw him away from his post, so we can get him like truly alone rather than where anyone else can see him.
All right. You do actually have a magic called Moth to a Flame, I believe.
Oh, that's my next level up. No.
But we had luck.
Wait.
You have luck now. Can that help?
You are right.
In some way?
Well, that's standing still to magically lure them to me, but I'm just trying to make noise. Like I'm not.
No, you are right. You are right. You were using. Did you say you were using? What did you call it? A finer hand.
Yeah, like rather than just being like rather than just making any noise or like trying to make it sound like someone's broken in, like I feel like if I did something like that, he would just assign somebody to go check it out, whereas I want to draw him specifically. So I think trying to be
specifically.
So I'm trying to be more alluring, like perhaps there's a maid giggling and canoodling in the corner, like that's more of an interest to him than just like someone's broken into the treasury or whatever.
All right. Okay, let's say that you would need one success to do that, then, because I don't think that that's too difficult to kind of to maybe cause a small noise of a particular variety or a particular kind that might attract his attention.
Oh my goodness, I need a very strong man to help me.
I need the guard manager specifically to come help me.
I need a man. Please.
My
Said
bustier.
no woman ever. Okay, so yeah, call his name with a little giggle. Please roll your dice, and of course you do have a luck, so roll your dice, see how you do. You can always roll another dice if it's and see if you can distract him.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
You got this.
My other die is in dice jail, so for anybody who's wondering, it's already in dice jail. I'm using a new one.
Yep.
Okay.
It's 4, 5, or
6.
6. Yes! This whole time, I've been going, guys, it's literally a 50% chance. How are you failing every single time? But we have a success at last. So I will allow you actually to do this in an interesting way. You kind of went for a little giggle. You're leveling up to level 2, which means you're changing a little bit. You're changing into something else. You get to tell me how that distraction happens and how your transformation happens.
Okay. So I will note that, as you mentioned, we're still not visible. So, like, over succeeding would make us visible, but like my transformation has nothing to do with what he sees whenever he goes to investigate this noise. However, going up a level obviously makes us a little bit bigger. And so rather than this like ball of light that I have been up until this point,
I'm having a think. Just because we've been rolling so poorly, I'm having a think. I'm wondering whether it's fun to in this instance, because we're playing a one-shot as well, to just have level 1, level 3, and level 5. So to kind of give us that variation a little bit, I think, just so that you're going straight from level 1 to level 3. Obviously, if we were playing a longer game of this, or we weren't rolling quite so poorly, it would be really cool to see level 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and see that kind of slower transformation. But I think that we can have some interesting transformations level 1 to level 3. So I'm going to allow you to evolve yourself into level 3, which where I'm seeing like Jen in the chat is making me laugh because she said, you know, you're fucked when the GM is like, you know what, take extra levels.
I know.
No, it's just because I think it would be really fun for you guys to get to play a little bit with some of the powers that you have, and it's not your fault that you're rolling bad. And my job as your facilitator, and it says all the way through this game, is not to see you fail. It is to try to engage your success. So we're going to go to level 3. So you tell me about your transformation into level 3. What do you look like in level 3 mode? You have 3-stage transformation.
So yeah, I have shifted away from this ball of light type form. Copper can see me shift into a much larger, about 5-foot shape, into what is my most traditional shape, and it is that of a stunningly beautiful woman, ethereal in nature, definitely radiating an allure that is otherworldly. Long flowing black hair, a slight glow to the skin that's reminiscent of the light that I once had, deep dark eyes, and a flowing gown that's kind of odd to look at. If you look at it too long, it doesn't seem quite right. And so as I'm making this noise and drawing his attention, my more traditional form has appeared, and I look a bit more comfortable, frankly. Not that I had a look before because I didn't have a face, but now that I do have one, I seem very in my element. And yeah, I kind of tuck away into the corner to continue the distraction plan.
No worries. So you kind of make this noise from around the corner, and he's like, as you had predicted, he is delegating. He's kind of just finished up telling someone to go and guard a certain area, and basically delegating all his dirty work so that he can kind of actually just sit in the sort of small office that resides nearby the treasury. And he's got his feet up on the desk. He's kind of thumbing his way through a book. He's trying to look busy, like he's trying to look like he's doing something, but really he's just kind of lazily sort of making sure, and he's kind of scrubbing out people's shifts and then rearranging them. He seems particularly to have something terrible against Thomas's dad. We're not really sure why. Thomas's dad is a sweetheart. But he does that, and as you make this kind of alluring giggle, he doesn't look up, and he goes, "You should not be up here." And then you make the noise again, and he looks up and he goes, "I said you should. Hello? Can I?" And he shuts the book and puts it down. "Can I help you?"
Wait, can he see me?
He sees Segura.
He can kind of see this like glimmer and hear this giggle for a moment, and maybe just see this like silhouette. I think he sees like a silhouette of you, and then you sort of disappear around the corner, and he begins to get up and start to make his way to investigate that noise that he's just heard. It sounds remarkably like a very attractive woman giggling. That's his kind of distraction that he's happy to take care of. As that, oh, I just read what you put in chat. All right, that's real. Cool. So that. We move then to Erin. Tell me, what is Copper doing? So this man gets up, and you can see as he sort of walks his way, and he's like, "Hello, I saw you. Are you okay?" And he kind of peers around the corner. This set of keys is dangling from his belt. It's not very well attached.
Okay, so I could try a switch, but I don't know how easy that would be to.
I would
find
say
like
that
another like a random kind of like kitchen or like
Copper, I
another...
would say that you have some incredible things in your pockets that people have given you, and most likely someone has exchanged for a copper coin some old
keys,
small key ring that has got a key attached that perhaps they don't use anymore, but it's like something of a marvel. You could certainly try to switch the keys around, absolutely.
Okay, then kind of like maybe I when Segura starts with the first giggle, I kind of like I saunter, I kind of like jump into him, and then I kind of like I wait behind the chair, and when he gets up, like in the kind of like movement of like getting up when like things at the belt are already kind of like reshuffling because you're changing position, I will try and do a little switcheroo with the old rusty keys that I have, and the ones that we need. So I will roll my die, and if
what you get.
needed, I have the backup from the luck. Well, that was a 1.
Do you want to use the luck?
I will try the luck. Let's see if this third die rolls better. No, it's a 2.
What is happening, guys?
Probably I tried to hop and reach the belt, but I don't have enough.
You don't have it.
Power.
You don't have it enough. I think that you try to hop and reach the belt.
Like there's videos of like cats who are about to pounce and then they go and like fall immediately.
I think you end up misjudging that your jump ever so slightly, and you end up booting him essentially. Like you kind of like you try to like jump up to get to him, and I think that your head ends up just like bumping him in the butt, and he kind of slightly falls forward and hits his head on the wall, and he's like ah, and then he kind of like falls to his knees and he kind of rests there a little bit. You have not done this quietly. The key is there for you to take while he's kind of resting, but he will say now, or he is able to get out of trouble now by saying that he was assaulted by someone. and that they potentially stole the key.
He should get a
And
career in football.
get a career in football. But you are able to get hold of said key.
Okay,
All right.
so I will kind of like get the key and a bit embarrassed. Kind of like I will probably kind of like hide to the side. 'Cause I don't know how it works if I'm holding an object, if it becomes invisible or if there is a
Oh, it
flying
becomes
object.
invisible immediately. Yeah, it's
Okay,
yours
so
now.
I'll take
Um,
I'll take the key in my little beak, and I'll kind of
Mhm.
like just hop
Mhm.
outside and look for Segwa and the others, trying to
All
avoid
right.
his stomping around.
Incredible.
Well, at
We're
least
gonna
I'm
head
still
back.
at 1 luck. So
You're still,
I
yeah.
used 1 and then I gained 1.
Yes, you get another luck for failing. So that's something. You have 1 luck. Great. Let's head back to Little Whisper and Old Mother Grin, and I'm gonna say that this is maybe your last chance to do something, and then we will figure out a revenge plan, because I'm looking at the time a little bit. So is there anything in particular that you wanted to do?
So are we all level 3 at this point?
No.
No,
So it
we're
is.
still okay.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to get to see. My thing is initially like little annoyances. Like I want to create little annoyances, and have So I'm trying to get to the king, slash get to at least the area that he is at right now, and so that's why I was trying to sneak through the cracks to at least find him at his most private, and slowly make him lose his mind.
Okay.
Is my
So
plan.
what is it specifically that you're looking to gain information-wise from the king by finding him at his most private?
His insecurities. We
Okay.
heard that he is trying to find that he thinks that the neighbor kingdom is he's trying to impress them desperately, and the more that I want to try to embarrass him, and slowly and I that's what I pretty much want to do. I just want to try to embarrass him, so much so that my end game is that nobody will want to even work with him anymore, and they'll yeah, that's what I'm trying to do.
So you want to find out a bit more from the king's mouth, as it were, from him himself, what he cares about, basically, so that you can, and like what he's insecure about,
or those around him.
Yeah. All right.
His most trusted.
All right. Mads, is Little Whisper wanting to do or find out something else? Because then I can kind of quickly have you both do something separate or something together, and then we will move into revenge planning.
I mean, like, if Old Mother Grimm's plan is to get at the heart of the king's insecurities, then I think I can aid and abet that by finding out what his deepest desire is.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's get to the meat and potatoes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Go for it.
So
It's almost dinner.
you will find the king, and you will find him in his he's in like his sort of living room, I guess. Like he has his own kind of like big suite, sort of in his own like area of the palace, where he and, it would seem, as you kind of find your way in there, his mother reside. He and she sort of sits on this chair. He is being measured up by a tailor, and he's trying on different suits, and he kind of like sort of checks himself in the mirror and he goes, "What do you think, mummy?" And she's just like, "Too blue, too green," and they're kind of trying on sort of like different styles, different fabrics are being kind of held up to him, and she suddenly turns to this tailor, and she says, "Leave us," and the tailor bows his head and walks out, and the king says, "I had not dismissed you." And then the tailor looks between them awkwardly, and she, with this ice-cold, withering glare, says, "Leave us." And the tailor scurries out.
Can I interrupt really quick?
Yes.
And before the tailor leaves, I'd very much like for him to still leave a pin in his clothing.
You just want to kind of give him that kind of thought sort of thing to forget to take a pin out for a moment?
Yes.
Roll a d6 for me.
5.
Yes! Okay, so you level up as you do this. So you level up into level 3, my love. So you get to tell me as you kind of cast this upon him, and your visage, and you begin to grow, first of all, in size, but your visage also begins to change. Tell us what that looks like as you sort of almost play with this tailor's mind a little. He's very meticulously pulling pins out, and you make him forget one.
Yeah, at this stage, you see that like the success, old Mother Grin kind of grows a little bit, and she's not just like a small little figure anymore. She feels like this like presence. She's like, now she's not like three-ish feet tall. That's the size of a child, right? Now she's kind of like 5 feet. And her features kind of sharpen a little bit, and her smile becomes wider, almost a little too wide, like where it's just like she knows a lot. Her eyes aren't twinkling anymore. Her eyes aren't twinkling anymore. Now they kind of like catch fire, like catch the firelight in some way, or catch a torch. But there isn't anything like that around, so it's like it's very strange. It's like, and it looks like she's just like constantly like it's like everything is just getting really, really exciting, and like the and to others, not now at this point, but to others, like, they may see like a shadow often to the side, like beyond like their vision, where they're like, what the fuck, like kind of like looking around. So anyway, that's kind of like how I envision her. It's like she's becoming very, very happy, and it's almost very strange and weird. And unsettling.
All right. And this pin, one single pin, remains stuck within the clothing.
Excellent.
And
when she sees that sees that shining, and you hear like a small like
oh god.
I'm sorry.
That's terrifying. All right. Okay.
Can I roll for mischief? I mean, like,
Absolutely.
I think
what is it that's you trying to do?
I think Little Whisper wants to trip him, so one of the pins ends up getting, poking the king.
Yeah.
I think that's what he tries to do.
Yes.
All right. So you're trying to get him to like maybe sort of scare him or just maybe prompt him to kind of trip a little bit.
Yeah.
And it's enough that pin will kind of poke and hurt.
Yeah.
I love that yours are just all this vicious, like I want to hurt, from cat mode.
Oh, absolutely.
We love to see it. Okay, let's roll that d6 in for me, and remember you also have that luck as
Yes.
well. So
But I'll roll that just in case. Let's see. 4.
fantastic. You are also going to level up to level 3. So tell me then, Mads, what does it look like as you see Old Mother Grin and she's kind of chuckling away to herself, and the tailor is exiting the room, and what you see actually just before is this king is clearly, and I think you would notice this because you're an insightful little thing, the king is clearly bothered by the fact that he did not give the command for that tailor to leave. His mother did, and she was listened to over him, and you see that small flash. You see that little flash of insecurity for a second, and this is the perfect time to play with his mind and get him to forget himself. He is going to want to step off that sort of measuring podium and look strong and look in command and in authority in front of his mother. So now is the perfect time. So tell me what it looks like and what you do to make that definitely not happen.
Oh, for sure. I think what ends up happening is that, as the tailor was, he was feeling inspired by Mother Grimm and everything, but I think the tailor was meticulous, but I think the pin was in a particular place that, just a little trip, and it would go in deeper. And the king, he was just in the way. Didn't see Little Whisper in the way, and proceeds to fall off that little raised dais.
Yeah.
And as soon as he falls off of it, that pin just goes right into his side, and he just not only trips and falls, ungracefully off of the dais, but also that pin, Little Whisper, sees with glee that it goes right into his side, and sees the spirit wince as the king immediately goes right up and goes, ah! Oh, but he can't see it because the pin has gone in, but it's in a place that he can't see what has poked in, because the pins are supposed to be all out.
Oh, so he immediately starts, and he pulls up sort of the shirt that he has on to try to figure out exactly where this pin has gone in, and he can see there's a little bit of blood. There's just this sort of drop of blood that's coming out, but it's so difficult to see exactly what's going on, and he's trying to figure out where the bloody hell, where's the pain.
No.
And what does Little Whisper now look like as Little Whisper levels up into the Dancing Whisper?
No longer the little kitten. It's almost as if he has folded unto himself before he rises, and it's like his aspect turns into a handsome young man wearing these silky furred robes of a courtier, and he has this wonderful shiny earring that goes from one part of his ear down to his nose, and then he just kind of glistens and shines, and as he smiles with his cat-like teeth and his gleaming green eyes at Mother Grimm, and just
First up, these two are looking like a freaking formidable pair, and I love it. Secondly, that sounds hot as heck. I am attracted to this Cunning folk. I'm just gonna put it out right now. That is how I'm feeling. So the two of you sort of laugh, and I imagine you to be standing sort of behind the dowager as he sort of falls off, and he's holding his side and he's fussing over himself, and that kind of like pained grunt starts to turn into almost this sort of like little sniveling, as he's unable to quite find what on earth has happened there. And she watches him with this she's got this sort of like long, slightly hooked nose. She's a formidable looking woman. You can just immediately sense from her this kind of, she exudes authority and she exudes power, and she just watches him and she goes, good gods, Ronald, I hope that Caspar is not as disappointing as you when he is king.
I mean, little whisper. Well, actually, the dancing whisper
Ouch.
now, like kind of, yeah, like cocks his head and just kind of can't decide now whether to look at him or her, because it's just too damn fascinating. Like, who do I figure out who desires the most?
and I mean, you are welcome to have a little look at them both if you want to. Like, they are both ripe for the picking in terms of, because it's not something that you have to roll for, I don't believe, intuit the deepest desire. No, you do not have to roll for it, so you can absolutely intuit the deepest desire of both of them if you like.
What do they want? I mean, what is the deepest desire of Mother Dowager and Ronald at this point?
Mm.
Both of them, each of them dead? I mean, I don't know. That would be cool.
Better rulers.
I'm gonna tell you this, what little vision you see, because this is gonna be some key information.
Yep.
And then this is gonna lead into you guys being able to figure out and enact your revenge plan. Okay. So we'll start with King Ronald, shall we? You see what you expect to see with Ronald. I think you expect to see unlimited power, and you expect to see wealth beyond your wildest dreams, and you expect to see all those things that foolish and greedy kings often want. And you see there that everything he desires and wants is purely selfish. There is no desire in his heart for his son's needs or wants. There is no hopes for his people. There are no desires to be better. What he hopes for, and those insecurities that I think that you really see in him that could result from this, is he wants to be in control. And it is clear from the relationship that he has with his mother, and it is clear from the machinations of his advisor, Alistair, that even as king of the kingdom, he is not always in control, and he wants it more than anything. He wants to be feared, he wants to be loved, he wants to be respected. He wants all of those things at the same time, whichever one puts him at the top of the chain. That's what he wants. You turn your attention to the Dowager, who looks upon him with utter disappointment and begins to chastise him about everything that could go wrong and everything that he must ensure goes right. Caspar must be his best for this princess. We must secure those jewels. We need this line to continue. That is what she tells him about. And as you look into it, you see, on the surface, that's what she wants. She wants her line strong and ruthless and everlasting. But it goes beyond that. You see in her desire how far she would go to get it, and how far she would go to eradicate anything that she perceives as fragility or weakness. You see blood on her hands. The blood
wow.
of her husband. The blood of King Ronald's wife drips. It drips from her fingertips, and she looks upon her son, and she looks upon her grandson, and you know that she is looking for any sign of weakness that says that they will not be strong enough. So,
and basically it's like, I think this is where Dancing Whisper kind of like sidles over to Old Mother Grimm and kind of says all this and says, if it was any other time, I'd almost admire this.
Agreed.
But this is not the time.
I would say 2 for the price of 1.
2.5. 2.5. Remember, we want Alistair too.
That too.
2.5.
Why not? You absolutely can go for all 3. The king is your main target, of course, but you were never told that you were only to exact revenge upon the king.
Mm-hmm. Of course.
Now, time is a ticking. So here is what we are going to do. Some of you have made it to level 3. My beloved Copper, I love you as this little owl chick. I really, really do. Here is there will be plenty of opportunities. So what we're going to do, we're going to enact now a revenge plan. So I would like you all to kind of discuss, what do you think, firstly, when do you think is the best time to enact a revenge plan? It could be at an important dinner where all of these people will be gathered. It could be even that there's no times. It's very clear in the rules that you can wait for a particular festival, or you could wait for a wedding day, or you could wait for any kind of time that you want, or you could enact it tonight. It's absolutely up to you. So when are you going to enact this, and what exactly does this revenge plan look like? And it will involve you basically coming up with a series of, this is the things that we will need to do, and then we will resolve them with who is doing them and with sort of roles. And I would love for you all to get to level 5 and be able to perform some really cool magics from your archetype. So let's just see how we do. So feel free to discuss amongst yourselves. I'm going to take a swig of drink.
Okay, so we have, like, I guess other than the information that we just had, especially about the Queen Mother and the King and all of that, we have the keys to the our treasury. And I don't know if doing 2 birds with 1 stone, and I can say it because I'm a bird, so it's not offensive. And but we can both kind of make it seem like, so we could say, makes it known that the keys to the treasure have been lost, and therefore kind of cause panic and also maybe distress from the nobles who are why would you treat our incredible treasure with such lightness to the point that it can be lost. And at the same time, the chief guard guy can also get in trouble and maybe get fired. and Thomas' dad can take his place.
That's always a plus. Absolutely.
So that might be fun. But yeah, if I'm very open to any other more king directed, because of course Copper hates the king and wants his tree back, or at least wants to destroy the throne.
Oh, sure.
Take part of that back. But anything that upsets the king and disrupts him or his sleep, or
a little vandalism never hurt anybody much. So, I'm thinking also, I mean, like, it would be kind of cool. I mean, like, I'm just spitballing here. I mean, like, it would be wonderful to have an invitation to an important event to that wonderful prince from somewhere else. The other suitor.
Oh, that'd be so sick. I love that.
Ooh.
Who's got the creature affinity again?
I have animals.
Send away.
At level 2.
Carry your pigeon away.
It's like, hey, look, there's a banquet. Let's kind of invite him over. Come on.
Okay, so I think that lends to like the ultimate goal. So what he wants is for the proposal to go well. And I think we can implement multiple parts of the plan to make it not go well. So I think the key's going missing, 1.
Yep.
The Sardonian prince, 2. I also would love it because we know that the princess is a lover girl. She wants to fall in love.
Yes.
And so I'd love it if we could find another rendezvous between the prince and the stable hand and then have her witness it and find out. And then she's like, oh, you're in love with somebody else. Totally makes sense.
I love
have
that.
this other guy.
I want that. Yep.
So yeah, draw her out.
Hearing it like in the wind or something, because that's something I could do. Like hearing it in the wind of like, I love you, I love you, I love you, but it's like not.
No, it's not.
Not
her.
like it's not her. It's them talking to each other.
Yeah,
She could be their greatest fan.
Way.
She could be their
or
greatest
like
fan, like hearing that, you know, because
yeah,
she seems to be a writer.
One of them could either like she could find one of them like crying and being sad, and like they could open up to her and say, hey, I actually have feelings for, because I think Casper seems like a good guy. Like he's probably a bit constricted by the rules of the court, but he doesn't seem like a bad dude.
And I think Dancing Whisper wants Mother Dowager and Ronald off the board. So exposing some murders would be wonderful. I think.
I mean, if something happened to King Ronald and to Mother Dowager, then Prince Caspar would be the new king.
Absolutely.
And he would be able to make whatever life that he saw fit for himself. You see,
marrying whomever the hell he wanted. Hell yeah. So
but if we can convince the prince that to respect the old ways, maybe like that will also shift him in the positive light. And
if there is an option, there's also kind of like a forced abdication or like a coup, like they can be.
It has to be a grand reveal, though. We want to embarrass the shit out of Ronald. I mean, and what better way to embarrass him than say, hey, look, mommy killed your wife and your dad.
How embarrassing for you.
How embarrassing. Oh my god.
I would want to have it be have him slowly, if we're doing do we want to do this at the wedding, or
betrothal? The betrothal is a ceremony unto itself. I would imagine it's like the announcement. I don't think so.
Maybe
like a big banquet.
Maybe like a potential big banquet that's being held in. I can definitely give you the information that a big banquet is being held in a few days' time in honor of the guests that are here, to pay their respects to the queen and the 2 princesses of Rodel, who have come to this kingdom. So it is very possible that if you're looking to embarrass them and to show how to put a colorful history on full display and to show how inept and foolish that they are, that would be the perfect time to do it.
Maybe while he's giving the big speech or something, he's like, thank you everybody, my son is a tool, my mother is terrible, and he's like, you know what I'm saying, have him as he's doing
speak the stuff he's done
in the middle of everybody.
I mean, and I could try to enact the magic of rumor that anyone who hears it believes it to be true. So
what?
Ooh,
get that whispering through the banquet.
You can do that?
Get that whispering through the banquet. All right. So here's what I'm hearing. We would like love conquers all. So we would like and we would like to try to reveal Prince Casper and Eric, but in a way that Elena would not be upset, but will be kind of enamored and inspired by it. Correct?
Yes,
Yes.
possibly we could do like in a moment in which we know, or like we can, follow Casper around a bit, and when we know he's going to the stables, maybe old Mother Grin, since she already has this contact with the younger princess, she can say, "Come see," and and kind of like lead her to over here. A conversation kind of like the one that Segwa and I
Oh, I love that.
heard earlier.
Certainly could be helpful. I think you would have noticed as well, Old Mother Grin, something you certainly would have got from your conversation with the younger princess, is she is very close with her older sister. So, and her older sister is clearly close with her as well. Like, the way that they were interacting, they clearly are very, very fond of each other. And whereas maybe young Sarah is sometimes forgotten because she is child and she has her head in clouds most of the time, Elena is certainly very conscientious of her sister and will listen to her. So if Sarah were to lead Elena somewhere, then I'm certain that Elena would follow.
I do want to put out there also that currently at my level, I have a level 2 spell where standing still, a person is drawn toward me, so I could also help with leading whoever somewhere. And also, if I manage to get to level 5, I have a level 4 magic that lets me take on the silent form of a person's loved one. So how interesting would it be if I appeared as the previous king to the dowager to freak her out, or perhaps as the current king's dead wife?
Hamleting this? Are we Hamleting this?
We are Hamleting this.
We might need to
shit.
Hamlet.
Hamleting Macbething this. I want it. Like, let's do it.
It's a Banquo,
Okay.
It's
All right. There's a lot of ideas flying around here. This is what I'm going to do. It is slightly going to change up the rules of the game, but this is what I'm going to do to try to give the people what they want. I am going to, first of all, you did some incredible sleuthing. I'm going to give you all a luck point, first of all, just for your wonderful sleuthing skills. Okay? Secondly, what I'm going to get each of you to do is roll for me at your level, and I am going to count the number of successes that you get amongst you. So you are free to use your luck points to also contribute to this, and I'm basically going to count them towards a sort of group effort, and then I think, if it's okay by you, with any input from you that you might have, I will additional details and things that you want from your particular characters, I will narrate a befitting ending for all.
Love it.
Does that sound good?
Sounds great.
Yes, sounds wonderful.
Lovely.
So
All
at
right.
level 3, that would you need 2 successes or something like that, right?
So I would, so roll, so you have 3d6.
Okay.
So I would like you to roll and tell me how many are a 4, 5, or 6. And I would like you all to do this. And you got a 4! Yay!
This is Jody's style.
Erin, please
Jody's-
level Copper up. And while everyone else is rolling, explain what Copper looks like in level 3.
At level 3, Copper, so this little chick kind of grows, and his normal form is about level 2-ish, when he's kind of like just a normal owl, but he always has his little teal capelet. At level 3, he's still an owl. He's kind of like an owl, but kind of like an eagle sized. So he's a big owl, and he probably can still, when he looks like when he's trying to not be too scary, he still looks kind of like a very fluffy, soft owl. But like when he starts to maybe get like a little bit threatening, or like the situation requires it, he kind of like expands, and like his neck, even for an owl, kind of like extends kind of like a little bit too much, and like his fluffy plumage becomes a little bit more ruffled, and so he's still very much an owl, and he's not too horrible or anything like that, but he definitely kind of like looks a little bit weird, and his talons grow as well. So especially like when he's walking, and like his legs kind of like articulate more, and like he's starting to kind of like look a bit more kind of like elongated. And if you look closely, especially when he's kind of like walking and extending his legs on kind of like the skin or some areas of the neck when he extends, and you know, like birds kind of like have, when there's, you can see like the space between the feathers, and you can kind of see the neck a little bit, and there's like little bits of like rocks that are scattered among the feathers, and you can definitely see more on like on the skin of the legs there. It's kind of like looks like it's made of like dirt and earth, and not just like little wrinkly bird skin. So yeah, he's definitely getting bigger and more long, and kind of like a bit more weird when he moves.
I love that. Like I love that. It's very like ostrich owl. It's giving me.
Yeah, it's kind of like a bit like a vulture, but
ostrich, vulture, owl. Okay, so incredible. I just saw Naomi that you rolled 3 successes of 3. That's flipping incredible. Okay, so far we have 4 successes. Tell me, Diana, how many? You have 3d6. How many were successes?
2.
2 out of 3.
2 out of 3.
Love that. Okay, so we have 6 successes. And Mads?
2 out of 3.
Okay, so to give you some idea, I had bars in my head. All right.
Okay.
I had like full success. It goes off without a hitch, and everything is incredible. I had like partial successes basically, and I had like failures. This is where this is where all the luck went basically for just this final satisfaction roll. You hit the mark. You actually smashed past the goal quite incredibly. So you are going to get an incredibly satisfying revenge on King Donald. And the way I imagine it happening is like so. You, in the following days leading up to a great banquet, begin to make your plans against the king, against his murderous mother, against his rat-like advisor, and even a little against a rather misogynistic male guard. And you've watched these pieces come together, and cunning folk are not necessarily known for being patient. Quite often they succumb to their urges and their angers, and they want satisfaction and they want it now. But you know that so much is at stake with this, because this man in this mortal realm, he wields power, like it or not, he does. And so in order to make this satisfying, you need to strip that power down and make it so he cannot get it back. It must be delicious, not just a small morsel for the moment. This must be a feast, and a feast for the cunning folk to enjoy. So in the days leading up, Mother Grin, you converse with Princess Sarah, and you explain to her that you would very much like to meet her sister who she dotes upon, her sister who she seems to love, and you would like to spend time with her and meet her and really solidify that connection between you. And Sarah gets herself very excited because not many people believe that she can see these things, but her sister indulges her imaginings, as other people call it. And so she brings her sister to the designated meeting spot, one that you have all been working and understanding that the prince and his stable hand lover tend to meet at particular times of the day. And she brings her sister out and laughs, and you hear Sarah say, "It's this way, it's this way." She's a very kind lady. Don't be put off by it. She smiles a lot, but don't be put off by it. She's really nice. And Princess Elena says, "Well, if you say she's nice, then I believe you, sister." And they make their way out. And as they get behind a sort of nearby building, Princess Sarah looks around and she looks for Mother Grin. But Princess Elena's eyes are fixed only upon one point, as she sees Prince Caspar and Eric, the stable hand, sharing a kiss. She exhales softly, and Sarah goes, "I must have got the wrong meeting place. I'm sorry. Can we go inside and play a game, maybe?" And Elena says, "All right, we'll play a game," and takes her back inside.
Bless her.
Also, little little copper, you have leveled up. You are able to communicate with an animal to take a message to a suitor in a far-off kingdom who has been waiting and knowing that Elena, the girl that he has utterly fallen for, is off meeting yet another prince, and that her mother will take her through this ridiculous charade of meeting suitor after suitor after suitor, when he knows he is the one that can make her happiest. He might not be the richest kingdom, but he has so much more to offer her than
We can
wealth.
even find a page from her diary in which she writes beautiful things about him.
Yes,
and
I love
send
it.
Or like maybe a letter that she wrote to him, but like would never send because she needs to do what she's told to do. So, so we can
Absolutely.
send that together, and just like, this is from the princess. You know, she's desperate to be yours forever. Come and meet her at the court on this day.
A bird flies in with a small, rounded scroll attached to its foot, and he frowns and unfurls the scroll and begins to read. He reads the words of Elena, and he reads how she hopes and wishes for love, and more than anything, romance. She wants to be chased. She wants to be bedazzled. And he thinks. And then he saddles his horse and begins to make his journey to the kingdom. The feast day arrives. Our guests are seated, and they begin to make their connections. Princess Elena is withdrawn. Prince Caspar is distracted. Both look like the two most miserable people in the room for the moment. King Ronald is attempting to make Queen Ariane laugh, and she seems mostly unimpressed, picking at her food. She is waiting to be wowed. She is waiting for something to happen. Some entertainment, something that will prove to her that this is the kingdom that she should choose for her daughter. And something certainly happens. Because as they settle down to eat their main course, a pair of guards rush in and they whisper to Alistair on the end, and he looks panicked and incredibly confused. And he says, well, how on earth did that happen? Who had the keys? And he goes, well, of course the head guard did. They were stolen from him. They were replaced with another set of keys. It was impossible to distinguish between the two. He has no idea. He says he was set upon by vandals or something. Well, when does this happen? For goodness sake. And word begins to spread. People begin to notice something isn't right. Something is afoot. And it's at this point that you notice that Alistair's incredible poker face is beginning to falter as he begins to look around nervously, and he goes, well, are the jewels intact? No, sir. They're gone. The jewels are gone. We have no idea where. Word makes its way down the table. The Queen Dowager leans in. What on earth is going on? Everyone begins to ask this question, and the king, until finally the room falls silent when Queen Ariane says, what has happened? Everyone seems distressed by something. Would you care to explain to me what is wrong? People stutter and stammer, and they try to make their excuses, and they try to pretend that everything is okay, but she knows at once. She stands and she says, you will take me to my jewels right now. There is a moment of silence. And then a cacophony of noise breaks out as it becomes apparent that the jewels are missing. And there is something not quite right about Alistair on the end as he tries to squeak out some kind of excuse. His voice becomes higher and higher pitched. His teeth lengthen. His snout elongates. And a tail bursts out of him for just a moment, and he squeaks desperately to tell her that the jewels will of course be recovered and everything will be fine. But her eyes widen and she falls backwards and screams. All at once, rats crawl out from the floorboards and they begin to work their way onto the table, and she is shaking and crying and screaming. The Dowager stamps her cane and says, what is happening? I will have order. I will have... She looks to the end of the hallway and she sees a figure that she recognizes, a figure that should be long dead. She made sure they were dead, but yet here he stands and he says, you will have what? Didn't you already have everything you wanted? She stammers. The room is silent, listening to her as she begins to shakily look at her hands. I can never wash it off. I cannot wash it off. She begins to grab water jugs and douse her hands in water and try to cleanse herself of the sins of her past. But she knows now that she cannot be free. She cannot be free of what she has done. And her face cracks for a moment. That strength, that ice-cold glare, it falters and it shakes, and you realise that there was never any strength in that ice at all. It was as fragile as it is when a winter's day is just slightly too warm. The courtiers in the room begin to wonder what could possibly be wrong as they desperately throw rats off of themselves and begin to try to restore some level of order. Why is the Dowager behaving this way? What could possibly be causing it? And in between them they hear a whisper. A whisper that tells them the answer. Well, she's a murderer, isn't she? It weaves its way from person to person, and people begin to piece it all together. Yes, that's right. He did disappear in a very strange manner, and the circumstances of his death. And didn't she always hate Casper's mother, hate the softness that she instilled in him, hate that she made him so emotional? Casper, Prince Casper, who should truly be their King Casper, for his kindness, is loved amongst his people, noble and poor alike. Didn't she always hate that in him? And who put it in him but his mother? His mother, an obstacle that needed to be removed so that he would be stronger.
Can I pop in really quick? Like
You can,
all
yeah.
of this is happening, like you just see Old Mother Grin is, you know, like this is like feeding her, and like before when she was like just like giggling and laughing, now the laughter is not like her mouth isn't even moving, it's just all the way around, and like her eyes are like are dark, and the madness is just like, she's like yes, spreading it, and she's very, very happy at everything that is happening here. This is like the ultimate tea. If she could have a glass of tea, she would be just sipping on that tea, and that's all I wanted to say.
I think, like, Dancing Whisper is actually now, like, grown in size, but actually just kind of like pacing the periphery and just observing, and like just kind of more larger than life, even though not really seen, but seen, and just like, more handsome than ever, but like 8 feet tall, and just like in his furred robes, and just the cat-like teeth grinning from ear to ear, pointed cat-like ears, of course, and then like the shining jewels and the furred robes, and then just the hair silky and soft and black as night, and just relishing all the whispers going round, and he's just reveling in it as he's closing his eyes, and then just, yes, all the words, yes. And then he opens up his eyes, and his eyes gleam green.
You are all definitely powering up, leveling up, becoming stronger and stronger and stronger. And King Ronald, seeing that his mother is indisposed, and seeing that his son and Princess Elena is sort of desperately trying to get these rats off of them, and everything is ruined, he can see he has lost control. Control is crumbling within him, and he starts to walk out and say, "No, I am the king. You will all listen to me. I will have order. Guards, remove these rats from this room." And as he does, he is suddenly struck, stunned, by the sight or shadow of a large bird, some ostrich-like creature with a vulture-like neck that towers over him, and it looks almost for a second like a tree that sort of branches out and extends upon the entire room, and he sees eyes glaring at him. He takes a step back. "Oh God, what are you?" And he hears a chorus of all of your voices. "We are not to be forgotten. We will be remembered." He watches as his skin begins to crack and become bark-like. He begins to try to scrape it off. He desperately calls to his healers, his guards, his servants, his nobles, his mother, anyone, help him, because he is turning into something. What he is turning into, of course, is some horrific wooden ornament of himself. Because even trees got to get revenge, right? We need to get revenge and justice for Copper's tree. So he begins to turn to wood. And then the rats fall silent and scurry back below the floorboards. The Queen Dowager shivers and cowers. The nobles look upon her with fear and distrust and disgust. And all eyes, including that of Queen Ariane's, as she calms down, turn towards the prince. And she says this: your father and your grandmother are indisposed. That makes you the king. I demand some recompense for all of this. I for this humiliation and this, what you have done to my family. My daughter saw you with a stable hand. I demand justice. He breathes. And he says, what justice would your daughters have of me? Sarah steps forward. Your king made a decree that the cunning folk were not to be believed in anymore. But they're my friends. And the people should be allowed to believe in them. It's quite hard for them to exist without that. So that is what I would ask. And he goes, it's granted, of course, I shall reverse the decree. And you, Elena, I'm so sorry, Elena. And she goes, no, it's... love is love. It's just... really all I want is that for myself. And a voice from the doorway, coming from a man wielding a sword, looking like he's just got off a horse that has been traveling for some days. He gets down on one knee.
His shirt is obviously half open, but his
It's
otherwise
obviously
is-
half open. His hair is windswept, but gorgeous. He has been traveling for days. He probably stinks, but he doesn't. No,
He also
is
has
perfect.
a nice bronzed face kissed by the
Yes.
sun.
and somewhere someone finally manages to be the perfect photographer's assistant and shines him in his best light. Yes,
Love it.
Sarah. And he looks at her and he produces the jewels. The jewels that he has taken from the safe, because I'm going to backtrack and say that this bird delivered with a note and a key, and say that he has taken the jewels, and he is to say, I don't want this. I don't need a dowry. I just need you. And we will end it there, because that was a bloody long ending, but I feel like
Can I just do
everyone
one
got
thing?
there. Go for it, yes, please.
When,
Anything
like,
people have to add, I will hear it.
I will just do, like, whilst all this mess is happening and like the good resolutions are happening and people are finally coming together and getting a breather after this, the big kind of like hulking shape that had kind of like terrified the king earlier, after seeing the king transform into this kind of like tree out of nothing, this the already elongated and weird owl kind of like if you'll allow me, Kat, I'll evolve Copper to level 5, which is when
Absolutely.
essentially he becomes, to the D&D folks, it's kind of like an owl bear type of thing. So it's like this huge,
Yes.
curly, muscly creature with this beak like made of rock, and his body is also covered in like gems and yeah, pieces of rock that kind of like erupt from his skin, and he will go to the throne room and it will kind of like smash the throne down, and will pick up the remains of the throne and kind of like head out of the castle, whilst everyone kind of like the good ending is happening from everyone, and we know that things have been brought to justice, and he will head back to the woods and he will use his level 5 magic, which is to make a plant grow larger than expected exponentially. So he will get the splinters and the pieces of the throne and plant them into the ground, and they will immediately erupt and explode and kind of like recreate his oak tree as it was, maybe even a little bit bigger than it was before, and it's beautiful, and it's old,
Beautiful.
and like it was, and kind of like the animals and all the critters kind of like come back to it, and so he's just this big thing, and like as it expands, Copper initially as this huge creature starts climbing it, and as he climbs it shrinks, and it gets to the weird long owl shape, and then as it gets higher and higher, it gets smaller and smaller and smaller, and by the end of it, he's just this tiny little chick, and he's got his kind of like his little nook that he usually slept in, and he has
Tiny
a couple
little
of
nook
legs,
in this huge tree.
and it's just like it's finally, it's kind of like, you can imagine kind of like him sitting with his little paws like sticking out of this nook, and it's just like finally he can take a nap.
I also want to do one small thing.
Absolutely.
So I assume that the treasury is full of all sorts of goodies. So as the place is open for us to mess around in, I grab something that could service as a nice ring, a nice band of some kind. And so as all the happy endings are happening and everything seems to be resolving okay with the foreign visitors, the Prince Casper just hears the soft whisper of Eric's name as like a little reminder that he exists, and something pressed into his palm, and it's the ring that I managed to nab from the treasury, just as a little reminder. He might not use it now, but just me influencing my own little happy ending.
Yes, I love that. Okay, so I think we end this some years later. The cunning folk and faith has been restored within them, and the kingdom is much happier under the rule of Prince Casper and his beloved husband, Eric. I think we see the Queen Dowager locked in a dungeon of her own making, having been arrested for her crimes when Prince Casper found out that she was responsible for the murder of his mother. That is something that he could not forgive, not even in all his kindness. And I think we see a wooden facsimile of what was once King Ronald, It stayed in that room for some time as the mess was being cleaned up, and then it was taken out with the rest of the rubbish and left within the cart as people decided, what are we going to do with it? But as the days wore on, people began to forget that this was once a human. They look upon it as, the statue of the former king. They forget that this was and is, in fact, the former king. He finds himself up in a heap, staring at the sky. Still, his expression is locked in a face of horror, calling out for his mummy.
Whoa.
And as the years go on, people begin to talk of King Ronald less and less, until his name is forgotten to all. And that is where we'll end it.
Woo!
Thank you so much, players. I'm aware that we have run over a little bit than perhaps we had planned, but I hope that was a satisfying ending for our lovely Cunning folk.
Yes.
Love it.
And what we will do now, we will go around, reintroduce ourselves, and do a little bit of plugging. We can talk about what it is that we do, and what amazing things that we do in the space outside of this performance and outside of pretending to be various members of the Fair Folk. So let's go with. I'm going to go in a nice, because we have restored order now. I'm going to go in an orderly fashion. So I'm going to start with Diana.
Yes. Yes, I am Diana. Pronoun she, her. I'm sorry, what was the what are we doing again?
Tell us
I
about
played
you.
Who are you, and what is it like? You can do a little bit of, if you got anything to plug, then please plug away, or just say
Yes.
kind of a little bit about what you do.
where
they can find you.
Yeah, you can find me on Blue Sky as Girl Pants, GRLPANTS, and then from there you can pretty much just look at my bio and click on the bio and connect. I'm pretty much everywhere. I work in gaming. I love doing TTRPGs. I'm also a career DM, so I'm very happy to be able to actually play with people and have a really great time, and not have to do the things that are required when you are a general GM, DM, narrator, all that good stuff. I am very happy. This was so wonderful. Thank you to everybody, and thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Diana. Let's move. I'm going to go alphabetical, actually. Let's go to Erin next.
Yay! And I punch my mic, of course, as soon as I do that. Hello, everyone, again. I am Erin, pronouns are they, them. I am a non-binary illustrator and a comic colorist. You might know me for some of my Critical Role official and fan art. And I do lots of TTRPG stuff. I illustrate characters, do designs, and I will be, if you are in the UK, I will be doing my first event this coming Saturday 8th of March at the Royal Hallway campus for RH Comic Con, and then I will be at MCM London in May and UK Game Expo. For my very first time, and where I will bring my own TTRPG creations, my deck of system agnostic characters, and also my D&D homebrew stuff. So for all the UK people, or UK visiting people, maybe I'll see you at MCM or UK Game Expo. And you can find me at Erin Angelini on Blue Sky, or in general bit.ly /Erin links for everything, because that's easier.
Thank you so much, Erin. We'll move on to Mads now.
Hi, I'm Mads. She, they pronouns. You can find me on Blue Sky, Discord, and YouTube as Madeline Colley. It's like full out on the chat. And I run and play a ton of TTRPGs. I have several series under playlists on my YouTube channel. I'm currently running a lot of the Between. I love the Trophy RPG, finishing up Hearts of Lynn, finishing up a campaign of Brentwood Bay being posted, and I'm starting to post Apocalypse Keys. So I got a lot of different games that I run on my channel. So please, check out the different series. I try to run something all the time. Yeah, please check it out, and then again, check out my stuff. I also voice act a lot on my channel, so yeah, different voices all the time. So yeah,
Yes.
that's all I can think of at the moment. So yeah.
That's okay. Let's go with Naomi next.
Yep, my name is Naomi. I go by Bardic Pro here and pretty much everywhere else, and literally here on Twitch. That is primarily what I do. I stream video games on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays around 6:30 to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I am in the U.S., unlike several of our players here. But yeah, so my work on the internet is generally video game focused, but I love TTRPGs. I'm hoping to do more of them, so I really appreciate Kat for giving me this opportunity to kind of enter back into the TTRPG space. It has been very lovely working with all of you. So yeah, I'm also on Blue Sky, so I'm Bardic Pro on Blue Sky as well, and all of my other links are there.
Thank you so much, Naomi, and thank you to all of my players for joining me. You were all a fantastic cast. You brought so much life to these characters who I just want to see all the time now, to be honest, causing mischief and mayhem. I am Kat. I am known on the internet. I can't say internet today. I keep saying interest. I am known on the internet.
You're an interesting person on the internet. That's what
I'm an interesting. Oh well, maybe. I am known on the internet as the Law Mistress. You can find me over on Blue Sky at Law Mistress 93. It is spelled Lore because sometimes people spell it the other way of spelling law. Law as in world law, book law, that kind of thing. I am primarily a writer and game designer now. I am stepping into the world of game design, and it has been an absolute blast so far. My big plug is that coming up March the 13th, which is so close now, I am part of the Hatched Games team, and we have created some solo zines, like a boxed collection for solo games of horror games. They are sort of folk horror. So if solo gaming is your jam, which it absolutely is mine, then it's definitely well worth checking out. It is under Gast. And you will find that over on my socials. So if you head over to Blue Sky, you can click on my link tree, and appropriate links have been posted there. Thank you so much for joining us, those of you that have been joining us. It's been really, really fun to do this. I know, as like I said, we ran over quite significantly. I'm going to just blame the tech gremlins, even though it's not.
And thank you, Jan.
It's definitely a little bit me. But thank you so much to our wonderful producer who has helped us through these tech gremlins with patience and positivity. And honestly, could not do this without them. We are now going to head off, so I hope everyone is having a wonderful time zone wherever you are, and that this brought a little bit of joy to your day. And I will be back soon, probably next week, to, I don't know, stream a video game maybe, or a solo game, depending on what I'm feeling, I guess. Yeah, catch me on the internet, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. See you soon.
Thank you.
Cheerio.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.